Chapter 51, Chapter 51, Ultima doing Ultima things. A few years have passed since I named Ultima and acquired Universal Sense. I also acquired the extra skill, Magic Manipulation, making my magic more efficient to use, and combined with my Resist skill, Holy Demonic Attack Resistance, my defenses against magic and otherwise magicule-based attacks became extremely high. The fact that my soul is of a human while my body could be considered a mix between a spirit and a monster allows me to acquire more skills than others, similar to how Rimuru could. I didn't think about it during my first years in this world, where I relied completely on my status and training. But after the Harvest Festival, the Black Heart skill takes care of everything, and I started to think about gaining more skills. I'm bored. Ultima complained. My eyes twitched as I dealt with the paperwork I somehow had. While only 1/3 of it related to anything to the castle, the rest was reports of everything happening around the continent. The best thing about having practically undetectable shadows is that they are very good at gathering information. Then go and annoy some random kingdom, I replied. Oh. But doing it alone is boring. She complained, let's do it together. Didn't you say something about cursing a royal bloodline a few years ago? I thought about it for a moment, that's a lot of work. How about just planting man-eating bugs in some random noble's bedroom? I know doing something like that is wrong, but I find it fun for some reason. You. Her face turned slightly green in disgust. I may be a demon, but that's too much even for me. Well, we can curse them instead of a royal family. It would be easier, and I don't have any kingdoms I want to destroy now, I said, returning to my paperwork. Fine. But cursing a noble family is less fun than doing it to a royal family. She grumbled. And cursing them would still take years before we see the result of it. So you would still be bored. I can't deal with this anymore. The only thing we do is sit in this office and do paperwork. She shouted. I do the paperwork while you sit around and complain. I corrected her with a deadpan look. Hey, it's not my fault I have nothing to do. Your shadows care for everything around here, and you haven't given me anything to do. She complained, giving me an annoyed look. It's not my fault you can't come up with anything else to do alone. Says the one that gives himself paperwork to do and then complains about having it. And what did you do before joining me? Lazing around in the underworld and waiting for a vessel. She looked slightly offended, humph. And what did you do before meeting me? Oh, I don't know, getting stronger, building an army, becoming a member of the Demon Lord Council, becoming a true Demon Lord, fighting Veldora. Okay. Fine. You did more during the past 10 years than I did for a couple of decades, she grumbled, but now you are sitting here and doing nothing. I chuckled, maybe you're right. It's hard to believe it's already been 10 years, and I will be 20 years old in just a few months. Being 20 years old isn't much for someone technically immortal like me, especially when talking to someone born ever since the dawn of creation. Fine, let's go curse a noble family. How about the Licious family? Their son was the general of the army that attacked me, I said, remembering the skill issues guy. They attacked you? She asked, completely serious now, how about torturing them instead? She asked with a crazy look on her face, and I somehow found her very attractive. If you want to, then go for it. We completed the torture chamber in the basement of your sub-island. Really? She went to me and hugged me, thank you. She looked so cute while talking about her torture chamber. She asked about having one after multiple people came here to challenge me for my position or just to kill me, and I didn't see why I shouldn't get her one. Then I will go and find them. When she was about to leave my office, she stopped and turned around. Do you know what kingdom they are part of? She asked. The only thing I know is that they are from the western part of the continent. Ultima left to find the Licious family and returned a couple of days later with 5 people, who she brought directly to her torture room and continued to go there every day for multiple weeks. Every time she returned with blood on her face, I started to think something was seriously wrong with me when I found her attractive when she has blood on her face. Maybe it's something wrong with me, or it's the vampire blood in me that finds it attractive. But I doubt it since, after the Harvest Festival, my race evolved into Monarch. My liege, the upgrades to the castle have been completed. Beru's voice came through the thought communication skill, a sub-skill of my ultimate skill Shadow Monarch, Ashborn and an intrinsic skill of all the named shadows. Good job, Beru. You can take the rest of the day off, I replied. There isn't much happening right now, so I'm using my shadows to upgrade the defenses of my castle and all the sub-islands so it would be protected from any threats. It's not like many people would be stupid enough to attack me, especially after I easily wiped out an army, but you can never be too sure. Plus, there could be a moment every shadow is with me, and there is no one to protect the castle. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 52, Sealing of Veldora. I haven't been here for a couple of years now, I said as I flew towards the sacred mountain. Aparatuntlacrino is visiting and wanted something from me, I hummed while thinking. It feels like I forgot something important. Well, if I forgot it, then it can't be important. So, Kale, please answer me. Crino paused momentarily. I could imagine her eyes closed but smiling behind the mask. Why have I been hearing about a new demon lord with an army of shadows? I chuckled nervously. You see, things happened, and how should I say it? I became a demon lord. Things happen, and you became a demon lord. She repeated my words. Yet, I was totally forced by a big scary red-haired demon to become one, and somehow I killed a small army, making me evolve into a true demon lord. Wow, that's a lot of strangely convenient series of coincidences for you. She paused, and I could feel the deadpan look behind the mask. It's like you planned it. PFFF. Of course, I didn't. She sighed while rubbing her forehead or trying due to the mask. I saw her eating through the mask, so maybe she could rub her forehead through it. At least you didn't go and wipe out a whole kingdom this time. Why would I do that when it's easier to trick them into attacking me? I asked. Actually, attacking a whole kingdom would give me more shadows but could cause more problems with Guy. So you planned it? She asked, tilting her head. Of course not. She sighed again. Why must you get more annoying to deal with every time? So why did you ask me to meet you here? I asked, ignoring her question. I want you not to interfere while I deal with him. I looked at her, confused. Deal with who? Veldora POV. After an annoying group entered my forest and woke me up, I remembered something. It's time for our rematch. It took me a while to locate his magical signature. To think my rival could even hide his magic signature from me. The mighty storm dragon Veldora. The strongest out of the true dragons. Ha 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 ha. I can already feel it. This battle will be legendary. I flew toward where I felt his magic signature and found myself near a human empire. Hey. Why is there a human woman walking towards me? That isn't my rival. She looks fairly strong, not like my rival, but she could be a good warm-up. Kale Valentine POV. I watched as the battle between Veldora and Chrono started using universal sense. I thought Veldora would be sealed in a few years and not today, and I was slightly annoyed I couldn't go out there and fight him together with her. Well, she told me not to interfere with this fight, so I'm staying back, but after she seals him, I will demand a fight from her. It has been almost 9 years since we last spared, and I have gotten much stronger during that time, so I could maybe even defeat her now. Maybe I should help her. No, she would be mad if I did. She said something about it being better if the people didn't know anything about a demon lord and hero working together to seal Veldora, and all of my heave-hitting attacks are a dead giveaway to me being the demon lord Ashborn. So she didn't want me to go with her even if it would be as Kale the Holy Knight. I groaned in annoyance, wanting to fight Veldora again. The fight lasted about 2 hours before Chrono activated Infinity Prison and sealed Veldora. Veldora disappeared, and I guess she teleported him away to the cave where he would be sealed for the next 300 years. But what made me curious was why Veldora looked like he was trying to preserve his energy. If I remember correctly, he shouldn't take her seriously, but that looked like he was trying to save his energy for something. His attacks still did a lot of damage, but considering our previous fight, this is him still holding back a lot, but why would he do that? I asked myself. I'm actually starting to feel bad for him. He kinda reminds me of myself a bit. The youngest siblings sometimes get killed by his siblings, making him believe they view him as their plaything, tormenting him and causing deep emotional trauma. But the most important thing is our shared like for novels and mangas. That reminds me. I should ask/force Rimuru to give me different novels after he reincarnates in this world. He is a friendly slime, so he wouldn't mind giving me them for free. While I can create my own from my memories, there aren't many I still remember. And well, if he doesn't, then I would need to use some blackmail on him. I'm sure if I go through my memories of the novel and have my shadows spy on him, I could pick up some dirt to use. But that will wait for another 300 years. Thank you for your help, Kale, she said, walking towards me after everything was done. But I didn't do anything, I deadpanned. And that's why I'm thanking you. If you interfered, Veldora would probably take the fight more seriously, causing more damage. My eyes twitched. You are saying it like I'm some sort of trouble magnet. Because you are. She retorted. Tisk. I clicked my tongue. Anyways, if that was all you wanted from me, then I'll be leaving. Oh, will the big bad demon lord cry? She chuckled behind my back. Says the one hiding behind a mask. I grumbled. Aren't you also hiding behind a mask, little demon lord? She asked teasingly, so I ignored her and teleported back to my castle. A couple of weeks passed since Veldora's sealing, and there wasn't anything interesting for me, so I ignored that matter and continued to work on a new project. While I have a couple of resist skills, all of them are normal resistances and not nullification. So what if I made a machine that would constantly attack me until my resistance evolved into nullification? If I could acquire other skills this way, I should be able to upgrade my resistance the same way. Or at least I hope so. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 53, No Pain, No Gain. So. Can I ask a question? Ultima asked. You just did. I deadpanned, but she looked annoyed at me, so I chuckled. Sure, what do you want to ask? This machine, she began and looked me in the eye, are you a masochist? Really? That's what she wanted to ask? What? Tell me a normal person that would make a machine to hurt themselves and isn't a masochist. Well, I don't enjoy pain, so no, I'm not a masochist. If you want to tell yourself that, then go right ahead. She chuckled. How about you joining me then? I asked with a smirk. Oh, there is no need, my lord. I already have all the nullification this machine should give you. But I can cheer you on from the sideline. She said, giving me a thumbs up. You are enjoying this, aren't you? What? Me? No, if my lord wants to become a masochist, I will support you, and if you want, I could be the sadist. She said, giving me another thumbs up. My eyes twitched slightly, but I ignored her and decided to activate the machine. It started warming up, so I stepped back and waited for it to start. It should start in 3, 2, 1, now. Just as I said, I was blasted with a ray containing poison, paralyzing and petrifying effect with many others. Argh! I screamed through my gritted teeth as I was hit with pain that would make all the others, like having my arm chopped off, look like nothing compared to this. As it continued, I was trying my hardest not to fall on my knees. There was a small bit of pride in me that didn't allow me to kneel right now. It's as if I did, then I would admit defeat to a machine I created. A machine that makes my resistance look like nothing in front of it. I struggled for hours, constantly being blasted by it, but thankfully, my machine didn't fail me as I heard the voice of the world, and a painful smile formed on my face. Resist skill, abnormal condition resistance has evolved into resist skill, abnormal condition nullification. Oh, thank God it's over. While I still feel the pain from before, I don't feel any new pain. Then it's time for the second machine, I said, deactivating this one and going towards the second one. Unlike the previous one, this one was harder to make but should help me gain physical attack nullification. It will shoot different weapons and attack me in different ways, 2 of them being slashing and piercing. Maybe you should take a break before doing that one. Came Ultima's worried voice. No, if I'm doing it, then I should do it in one go, I said, and she stared at me. And you said you weren't a masochist. Well then, let's get this one going. I activated this machine and stepped back again. It didn't take long before multiple types of weapons started flying towards me. Erg. I tried my best again to go through this. If it's for getting stronger, I can withstand some pain. I remember someone saying once, no pain, no gain. If I see that guy, then I will have his head for it. Hours went by, and I couldn't hear the voice of the world, and I started thinking of going on a rampage and killing everyone in my sight. More hours flew by, and finally, I heard it. Resist skill, physical attack resistance has evolved into resist skill, physical attack nullification. Resist skill, pain resistance has evolved into resist skill, pain nullification. I turned off the machine and breathed a sigh of relief. My clothes were almost non-existent at this point, and I was covered in blood. So, my masochistic lord, I assume your little experiment was successful? Ultima asked, looking at my body. Yes, it was, I answered, smiling as all my resist skills were maxed out. Unfortunately for me, there isn't any holy demonic attack nullification, so I need to live with holy demonic attack resistance. Then. She paused, looking slightly uncertain, could I maybe take those machines? She asked. I thought about it for a moment before I understood why she wanted them. I already gained everything I need from them, so you can take them. Yay. Thank you, she hugged me like a little kid who just got a birthday present, not like one of the strongest demons. Actually, only a demon would be happy to get something for torture. Dash. Sitting on my throne, a place I haven't been for a while due to being in my office. I thought about what I should do now. Veldora is sealed, and I have gotten quite strong, but not strong enough. The problem is I don't know how to get stronger. Of course, my mage IQs and strength are constantly increasing due to Black Heart, and I have gotten more skills, but I don't know where to go from here. Out of all my skills, the only thing that could evolve at this moment is the extra skill, magic manipulation into the extra skill, law manipulation. The only thing I think that could trigger the evolution of the skill is if my proficiency in using magic would reach a level that would enable me to manipulate the world's laws. That will probably take some time for me to achieve, but speaking of strength, I haven't checked my status for a while now. Mage IQs, 45,619,800. Stats. Strength, 7,540 plus 18% equals 8,897. Vitality, 6,973 plus 18% equals 8,228. Agility, 7,279 plus 18% equals 8,589. Intelligence, 7,105 plus 18% equals 8,383. Perception, 7,105 plus 18% equals 8,383. Nice, while the growth doesn't look like much, I noticed that all my stats increase by 6 points every 10 days, similar to how I was doing the daily quests but without the need to do anything. The same with my mage IQs, but I think I gain more of them now than from doing the daily quests. Even so, most of them come from my shadows killing, and now with Veldora sealed, the amount will slowly decrease over the years. I should probably hunt inside the cave instead of the forest now. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 54, Sacred Texts. A lot of time passed, with me doing basically nothing besides working on my castle. My shadow expanded the castle, so it's about 3 times its original size, with the sub-islands being almost double the size. Besides the changes, nothing special happened. Ultima has returned to the underworld a couple of times but returned quickly each time. With how good she has become at concealing her true self in her new looks, it would be hard, if not impossible, for even demons from her own lineage to recognize her. It would be fun for her to keep it a secret from the other primordials and then reveal it later when they are together. Something like, hey, by the way, I'm also Violet or something similar. Oh, something important that happened was that Leon Cromwell and Chloe Obel were summoned. Well, Chloe was summoned here before being resummoned again, but in the future. Why do I know this even if I spend most of my time in the castle? Simple. Ramirez had visited me, annoyed by a rude blonde-haired guy who got the blessing of a light elemental. I didn't pay much attention to it, but I still had a shadow report his movements to me. I actually have shadows in many kingdoms that gather information for me, except the Eastern Empire. If Guy is able to notice my shadows even if they are in my shadow, then Rudra or Michael would probably too, and that's not even speaking about Velgrind. Now that I started thinking about dragons, I looked over to my desk, where a stack of books was. I should maybe give them to him. It was the first volumes of Dragon Ball, or how I remembered it, at least. I felt bad for him being sealed alone in a cave, so I visited him a few times over the years and made this a gift for him. I wasn't the biggest Dragon Ball fan, but this should at least be 80% accurate to the original. I teleported into the cave Veldora was sealed in, and he instantly noticed me. My rival, you're back again. Oh, so you missed me? I asked with a chuckle going closer to the seal. Of course not. I'm the storm dragon Veldora. I don't miss people. The people miss me. He said with an arrogant voice. Oh really? I asked, raising my eyebrow, then I probably shouldn't visit you anymore. Wait. No, no. You are my rival. You can't just leave me here alone. So the mighty storm dragon is at Sundara, I chuckled. HMPF. I'm not at Sundara. He huffed like at Sundara. Well, I thought you would be bored here, spending most of your time here alone, so I brought you books, I said, giving him the books that somehow traveled through the infinity prison. I don't know how, but I should maybe study it later. Books? You think I, the storm dragon, need books? He asked but still took the first volume and inspected it. They aren't normal books, I said in a disappointed tone. I thought the mighty storm dragon would see the difference between a normal book and the sacred texts. What? Humph. He huffed again. Of course, I knew what there were. If you knew what they were, I was just testing you, my rival. Yeah, sure, buddy. Anyways, I'll be going now. I have some stuff to do, but I will bring you more sacred texts if I find them. Hey. Remember to visit me again. To give me more sacred texts, of course. Dash. Having left Veldora with the sacred texts, I returned to my office and started to think about what I should do during the 200+ years before Rimuru was born. He will probably find out that I'm an otherworlder due to me giving Veldora the sacred texts, but it's not like it's something I would need to keep secret. I could say I found them or someone gave me them. And if Mom finds out about it, I will just tell her that I was too scared to tell her the truth in the beginning or that my memories return slowly over the years. If I remember correctly, there were other reincarnated otherworlders besides Rimuru in the novel. But the only one I could remember was that Rosso kid. I don't remember her name, but I know she had the greed unique skill. But the fact that I'm not the typical otherworlder will remain secret. Just the fact that I was reincarnated into a world I previously thought was just fiction was hard to believe for myself, so how would they react if they knew? They could have a mental breakdown or just think that Veldonava created a universe where everything that happens here is written down as a story in my previous world. But for now, there is something I want to do. I have read countless books over the years studying magic and creating my own spells in order to do this. While for the couple of decades that this castle was suspended in the air, I used magic to do it, now I think I should be able to manipulate the law of the world around this castle to do it instead. Basically, I want to achieve the pinnacle of magic by manipulating of the laws of the world from either a magical or scientific perspective. To do it, I need to possess a sufficient affinity for the respective laws and enough knowledge about the scientific or magical laws and the way they operate. Thankfully I have both of those due to all the studying I did in my past life and this life. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. I don't know the exact date Leon was summoned, but the wiki says he is 300 years old, and he should have been summoned after Veldora was sealed. There was something that he summoned Shizue after 200 years. Shizu was 4 when summoned and 72 to 74 when she died. So I'm guessing he was summoned somewhere between 270 to 300 years before the start of the canon. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 55, Chapter 55, New Unique Skill. Newton's first law of motion, also known as the law of inertia, states that an object at rest will remain at rest, and an object in motion will continue moving at a constant velocity, unless acted upon by an external force. In the context of suspending an object in place, this law implies that the object would remain stationary if the forces acting on it are balanced. To suspend an object in place, I need to counteract the force of gravity acting on it. According to Newton's second law of motion, the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the net force applied to it and inversely proportional to its mass. Mathematically, it can be expressed as F equals ma, where F represents the net force, m is the mass of the object, and a is the acceleration produced. In the case of suspending an object, we need to ensure that the net force acting on it is zero. This means that the force pulling the object downward due to gravity must be balanced by an equal and opposite force. But the question is if I can change the law around the castle to do it. I decided to sit in a meditation pose and started working on it. Minutes turned to hours. Hours became days. Days became weeks, and when I was nearing working on it for a whole month, I was about to give up, but I was thankful I didn't. After a whole month, I managed to do it, and that's not the only thing that happened. Something I didn't expect to happen from this happened. At first, I thought my extra skill, magic manipulation, would evolve into my extra skill, law manipulation, but that didn't happen. Instead, I felt like I had completed the last part that was required of me before I heard the voice of the world informing me of a new skill. All conditions have been fulfilled. Unique skill, mystery, has been successfully acquired. I searched deep into my soul where the skill was located to see what it does, and when I did, a wide grin appeared on my face. To think that 40 years of studying and a month of trying to do something that could be considered useless for many would give me something so powerful. Hell, I'm surprised this is only considered a unique skill and not an ultimate one. That makes me wonder how crazy overpowered I could get if the skill evolved into its ultimate form. Aside from giving me an immense affinity toward every kind of magic and increasing its power, that's nothing compared to what it can do. It can store up to 5 skills I see and have analyzed. It's similar to how many skills can copy other skills but slightly different. Not only can I analyze skills without being detected. With enough time, I could even copy an ultimate skill, even if it's just a unique skill. It can also chain the effects of several skills together, possibly combining them into something new. I should probably visit a couple of people and test it out. Or have people visit me instead. A certain sleeping angel has the perfect ultimate skill I would need for this. His ultimate skill, Lord of Heaven, Astarte, has the ability to evolve skills in the direction that the user desires. Unique skills can even evolve into ultimate skills if the user has enough energy. If I manage to analyze it and acquire it, then with enough time, I could become Dino, my good friend, I have a deal of a lifetime for you, I began as I observed Dino, who was eating a pastry. I asked him for a favor, and after a while, he agreed. I want your help testing a new product. You know. My philosophy is to never work. I've never made a single coin with my own hands for hundreds of years, nor have I spent a single coin earned by myself, either. He replied. Oh, but I think you would enjoy this type of work. I then showed him my new product. This is a magical pillow that will adjust to the perfect for its user. I want you to test it while I take some notes for improvements. Dino stared wide-eyed at the pillow like it was the greatest thing in the world, and as he was about to take the pillow, I stored it in my storage. First, you must agree to conduct the experiment. Fine, just this time, I will go against my philosophy and do some work. He answered with the most determination I have seen from here over the years I've known him. Now put this on and go to sleep, I said, giving him a bracelet that he thought would be his sleeping state. Even if all of this is just for me to gain a new skill, I'm doing it for real, so he believes me. Okay, so I just sleep while you watch me, and I get an unlimited supply of pillows, right? He asked. Yup, that is, I said while taking out a pen and a clipboard for my notes. For it to work, I would need to analyze his skill for a long period of time. That's why I came up with this test, so he would stay here until it's done. The other skills I want to acquire after this one should be much easier and won't need me to prepare something like this. But this one is the most important for my plan to work, so when Dino fell asleep, I started to analyze his skill. I ignored his sloth skill and focused on Astarte. My thought acceleration was activated, and I was there analyzing his skill. From an outside perspective, it would probably look really weird seeing a guy watching another guy sleeping, but it's for me getting stronger. While in the real world, less than 10 hours passed for me, it felt like years had passed, but a smirk formed on my face when I completed analyzing his skill and felt something new being stored in my new unique skill. Leaving a note and a few pillows, I left Dino alone to sleep while I set off to gain the second skill I wanted. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 56, Fighting Milim. Really? You want to fight? Milim asked, excited. Her even eyes had stars in them. I chuckled, of course, I promised you, and I want to get stronger, so fighting you is the best choice. I didn't lie, I wanted to fight her to see how strong I was but also to analyze her ultimate skill, Lord of Wrath, Satanael. A subskill of the ultimate skill, Magicule Breeder Reactor. It allows the user to take in the Magicules from their surroundings and mixes them with their own magical energy. They then collide together in a process similar to nuclear fusion and create more Magicules. This ability allows the user to fight for virtually forever without running out of energy, giving them near infinite energy. It, together with my intrinsic skill, Black Heart, will help me gain more Magicules for my unique skill, Mystery, or my specifically the copied version of Lord of Heaven, Astarte. Well then, let's not waste more time, and let's fight, I said, excited for the fight. Even if it's mostly for the skill, it's not like I wouldn't enjoy a good fight. Plus, if I managed to survive fighting Veldora all those years ago, then I should be able to put up a decent fight, at least. We both had our armor on. After my fight with Veldora, my armor was completely destroyed, but I had my dwarf shadows forge me a new one. It was made out of Magi Steel and evolved over the years into Hihiro-kan, the endpoint of evolution for Magi Steel. It looks like pitch black scales are over my whole body, with the cracks having a purple glow to them. Ha ha ha. Don't think I will go easy on you just because we are friends, Milim said with excitement. Then let's not waste time, I said as my sword brought forth my sword from my dimensional storage. It materialized with purple lighting, and I got my guard up. It was a good idea as I instantly blocked her attack, and our swords clashed, sending sparks everywhere. I didn't waste time as I focused on analyzing her ultimate skill during the battle. Our blades clashed as the battle continued in the air, with Milim using her true form. She had a crimson horn adorning her forehead and large wings. The wings actually gave her an advantage during aerial combat compared to me, who used flight magic, but I managed to dodge and counter-attack even without wings. But still, how nice would it be to have wings? Am I not supposed to be some kind of a super version of a fallen angel? Where are my wings? Wait. What if? I got an idea mid-fight. I have used my shadows as shields and infused them into objects, so what if I make wings out of them? I tried it, and shadows spread out of my back and took the shape of wings. At first, they looked just like a black substance in the form of wings, but after a while, they transformed and looked like black feathers with a purple glowing outline. The battle continued, and I quickly learned how to use my new wings properly. I was enjoying this fight. It could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how I looked at it. It was good because I was obviously having fun, but the bad thing was that analyzing her skill would take longer because I was so focused on the fight. Our battle continued. Our surroundings were filled with the sounds of clashing swords and multiple spells flying everywhere. Thankfully I chose a secluded area for our fight. Otherwise, there would be causalities due to our little fight. I managed to copy her Satanal skill after what I assumed was the 24-hour mark of our fight. I could probably do it in half that time if I focused more on analyzing than enjoying the fight, but I still got it done, so I should concentrate fully on the fight. At this point, I wasn't thinking about anything else besides the fight. I saw Milim going for a punch, so I was ready to dodge and send a kick toward her, but it didn't go as planned. Both of you, stop. I heard a familiar voice shout and felt my kick connect the same with Milim's punch, but we didn't hit each other. Milim's punch hit Guy in the head, making him stumble down a bit perfectly for my kick to hit him between his legs. Guy. We both asked in unison, having been so immersed in the fight that we didn't even notice him. His skin became a few shades paler, and some sweat could be seen rolling down his face, but he pretended to look as if nothing had happened to him. If you both continue, you will make this area a new barren land here. Oh, come on, Guy, don't be like that. We were having fun, Milim said. I nodded, yeah, Guy, why must you be so boring? Didn't you always fight with your emperor boyfriend? I then shrugged, besides, we decided to fight in an isolated area where we wouldn't cause any damage. Well, maybe you started in an isolated area, but you aren't in one anymore. After he said that, I noticed that, for some reason, everything around us was frozen. Hey? When did we arrive on the frozen continent? I then looked behind me. Hey, Guy, why is the smoke coming out of your castle? Someone was shooting spells around here and hit my castle with them. He said, annoyed. Oh. Milim and I both scratched the back of our heads while chuckling awkwardly, sorry. Hey Milim, I think Mio has created a new cake recipe, so let's go and test it, I said, taking Milim and making a quick escape. Dash. So, Guy, why are you here? I asked as I looked at Guy, who ate a piece of cake without any care in the world. Is he really mad at destroying a part of his castle? Well, I would be someone did it to mine. Your little stunt made Veldora angry, and she is blaming it on me. I'm fucked. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 57, Evolving Skills. Some time passed since my little fight with Milim, and fortunately, Guy wasn't that angry over it, so I'm good. Veldora, on the other hand, is another story that I left Guy to deal with. But back to the reason I fought Milim. With both the skills I needed in my possession, I could go further with the second step of my plan. My intrinsic skill, Black Heart, is generating magicules for me constantly while Lord of Wrath, Satanale, I copied from Milim, takes in the magicules from their surroundings and mixes it with their own magical energy. They then collide together in a process similar to nuclear fusion and create more magicules. So what if I combine the skills together? Satanale will take the magicules my Black Heart generates and collide them together, increasing the magicules it can generate. In theory, it should work because my unique skill, Mystery, allows me to chain several skills together and should double, if not triple, the number of magicules I generate. I sat down and started my experiment. It took me a couple of hours to do it, but with some time, I got it down and working. I could feel the increase of magicules I gained. I also felt more anger, but nothing I couldn't suppress. Let's see. I took out the pocket watch I got from Mom all those years ago and checked the time before checking my status. ________. Magicules, 56,270,950. Stats. Strength, 14,140 plus 18% equals 16,685. Vitality, 13,573 plus 18% equals 16,016. Agility, 13,879 plus 18% equals 16,377. Intelligence, 13,705 plus 18% equals 16,171. Perception, 13,705 plus 18% equals 16,171. _________. So now let's see how much more magicules I will gain over the period of 1 month. Before my intrinsic skill, Black Heart gave me 400 magicules per day with a status increase of around 0.6 points per day for every stat. Then for the next 30 days, I will have my shadows stop hunting monsters so I can get the exact numbers down. Dash. A month passed in the blink of an eye, and it was time to see how it worked. bringing forth my status. I had a smile seeing the amount of Magicules I gained. Underscore. Magicules, 56,300,950. Stats. Strength, 14,158 plus 18% equals 16,706. Vitality, 13,591 plus 18% equals 16,037. Agility, 13,897 plus 18% equals 16,398. Intelligence, 13,723 plus 18% equals 16,193. Perception, 13,723 plus 18% equals 16,193. Underscore. 30,000 Magicules per month, that's not bad, a 2.5x boost, but I could probably make it even more efficient. But how would I do it? What if? I mumbled to myself and started using my copied version of Lord of Heaven, a start to see if I could evolve my Blackheart and Magicule Breeder Reactor combination to something better like a unique skill. After a few hours of analyzing and planning, I calculated that for it to work, I would need to use almost half of my Magicules for it to work. It was mostly due to one skill being a copy of an ultimate skill while the other is an intrinsic skill on the level of a unique, if not an ultimate skill itself. But I could maybe optimize the skills so the evolution would take less of my Magicules. It's not like having a Magicule storage of over 25 million is small, but if I can make it cost less, then I should at least try. At times like this, I'm envious of Rimuru, who had great sage do things like this for him. If I had it, then this would have been much easier. Hell, without that skill, Rimuru would have died after naming the first batch of monsters. It was great sage that made Veldora a battery for Rimuru to use. Well, I will try and copy the skill when it's in the early stage and have it do the calculations for me, but now I need to do them myself. 4 months passed, with me being solely focused on getting the cost for the skill down. I managed to reduce it a bit, but it's still 25% of my total capacity. Should I continue trying to get it lower, or should I just try and evolve the skill now? While I will eventually get back the Magicules, it would take about 30 years at the current pace I'm gaining Magicules, including the Magicules I gain from my shadows. But that's without me knowing how much it would increase with the new skill. Number 30 years worth of Magicules is too much without me knowing how much I would gain with an upgraded version of the skill. I need to try and reduce it even more. A whole year passed, and I made some progress in reducing the cost of evolving the skill. At times I thought about just doing it but stopped myself, and I'm glad I did. During almost a year and a half of trying, I managed to get the cost for the skill from using almost 45% of my Magicules to 20%. That being 20% off the Magicules I had when I started and not my current amount. I guess it's time to do it, I said to myself and activated the evolution subskill of Lord of Heaven, and started the evolution of Blackheart. I could feel the Magicules decreasing in order to evolve the skill, and after an hour, I got confirmation from the voice of the world about my new skill. Intrinsic skill, Blackheart and Lord of Wrath, Satanael has evolved into unique skill, Blackheart Reactor. I grinned as everything went according to my plan. Well, almost. I didn't expect both skills to fully merge into one. When I inspected my unique skill, Mystery, I couldn't find the Satanael skill there anymore. Not only did I manage to make a new skill, but I also freed Onslaught in my Mystery skill. My new skill, unique skill, Blackheart Reactor, is a mix of both skills. Now for the final test, I brought forth my status screen. Magicules, 45,769,760. Stats. Strength, 14,449 plus 18% equals 17,049. Vitality, 13,882 plus 18% equals 16,380. Agility, 14,188 plus 18% equals 16,741. Intelligence, 14,014 plus 18% equals 16,536. Perception, 14,014 plus 18% equals 16,536. The last test is another 1-month test to see how many Magicules I will gain. The month passed very slowly as I wanted to see how many Magicules I would have gained during this time. Of course, I had my shadows stop hunting for the time being. Okay. I opened my status with closed eyes before opening them, and I was pleased with what I saw. Magicules, 45,844,760. Stats. Strength, 14,467 plus 18% equals 17,071. Vitality, 13,900 plus 18% equals 16,402. Agility, 14,206 plus 18% equals 16,763. Intelligence, 14,032 plus 18% equals 16,763. Perception, 14,032 plus 18% equals 16,763. The number of Magicules I gained increased by 6.25 times compared to my original intrinsic skill, Blackheart. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 58, Day with Ultima. Ulti, can you please explain to me why you are in my bed again? I asked. Hey. She looked at me confused. It's nice here. I sighed. This wasn't the first time she had done it, and it probably wouldn't be the last. Plus, it doesn't look like you are complaining, she said, and I noticed I was hugging her. It's just a habit. I never saw you hugging your pillows. Anyways, I got up from my bed and stretched. Put on your clothes, I said. Ultima has a habit of sleeping naked, so I have seen her naked body so many times I got used to it, and this maybe caused us to do it a few times, but that's another story. So, what plans do you have for today? She asked, still naked. I thought about it for a moment while buttoning a black shirt I had just created with material creation. I don't know, maybe visit and annoy the new demon lord. I said, referring to Leon, who became a demon lord after killing Gazel a few months or years, or decades ago. After my 100th birthday and often staying in the castle for years at a time doing random research with thought acceleration enabled, my sense of time hasn't been so good. Ah, the blonde dude that looks like he has a stick in his ass all the time. She asked, and I nodded. That was actually a good description of Leon. Yet, knowing his personality, it would have a boring reaction. Then what should I do? Oh, I know. How about we go shopping in some kingdom? Ultima perked up, finally getting some clothes on. You want to go shopping? We both have material creation, so we can create almost everything we want. Yeah, but that's no fun. Let's go together. I read in a book Bear gave me that two people going shopping together is the best thing to do when you are bored. If she says so, I don't see why not. Fine, let's go. Dash. Walking down the busy streets, Ultima and I went to different stores. How do I look in this one? Ultima asked. I smiled. You look beautiful in it. At times like these, I forget she is actually a demon. My lady, you should test this one too, said the designer showing another dress. I think they mistook us for a noble family due to our expensive clothes. Of course, created by magic. Well, it's not like they are fully mistaken. I could be considered foreign royalty if they knew who I really was. But I don't care much about what they think about it. In this world, things like being a duke or a king aren't actually that important. The important thing is having enough power to back it up. For example, if you would want to anger someone with the same status, let's say a king, an ordinary human or a human saint, which one would you choose? Sure, both of them may have an army at their call, but would a powerful person truly be loyal to someone weaker than them? Of course, there would be some people that would be loyal to a person weaker than them, but most wouldn't. Dash. I somehow ended up buying 100 dresses for Ultima. Seriously, why does she need them? We can create the exact same dress with magic. Well, if she is happy, then I don't see why not. I have more than enough gold to spend on them, so where do you want to go next? I asked. How about the restaurant we walked by? We walked by a restaurant. I asked, not remembering it. Why not? Lead the way. I chuckled as she took my hand, and we walked towards the restaurant. How long has it been since I had a normal day like this one? Just going around the city in different kinds of stores? Yeah, I remember now. The first couple of years after my transmigration. During the times I was Kale the Holy Knight, a disguise I stopped using after becoming a true demon lord. I rather not think about it now. Dash. We spent the whole day shopping and doing other random stuff before returning, and I must say I had fun. Hey, Ultima, how about doing this again some other time? I asked. Really? She asked, surprised and happy. Yeah, it's fun. Just the two of us going around and doing whatever we want without anyone recognizing us. I'd love. Okay. She said. Seeing as it was already night, I decided to go to sleep, and Ultima followed after me without even trying to sneak in like she usually did. Dash. Years flew by, and many things changed in the world, especially for the adventurers. The free guild system. Yes, Yuaki Kagurazaka was summoned, meaning that canon will start in less than 10 years. While he is considered a villain in the story of Tensura, he has done some good things for the world. It also depends on what Yuaki it is. Is it WN or LN Yuaki? I wouldn't put him as a good person in either of them, but if I could choose one over the other, I would pick LN Yuaki. If I'm being honest with myself. If I didn't have my knowledge about him or the novels and reincarnated around the same time as him, I would probably have joined him. My life could have been completely different depending on how /when/where I reincarnated. My biggest advantage besides my skills was the fact I knew the world and things that could happen in the future, but without them, things could have been completely different. I could have joined Rudra or Yuaki, or I could have become Yuaki 2.0. Considering I don't think anything about killing or giving random people to Ultima for the torture, I could see myself wanting to destroy the world in a different timeline. I hummed as I thought about it. I could ask Chloe in the future if there was a timeline where I went full on villain. Well, enough of thinking about what if scenarios for my life. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 59, Stealing from Not a Bad Slime. After being notified by my shadows that an intelligent slime had appeared in the sealed cave, I didn't waste any time and quickly teleport there, completely hiding my presence from him. My goal is to copy his unique skill, Great Sage. My best chance at getting the skill is at its early stages before Rimuru is named or before the skill evolves. So I started analyzing it while also observing the intelligent unnamed slime eating everything in its path. To think that the slime that right now looks like it's mowing the lawn in a cave would become a godlike being in just a few years. Honestly, it makes my progress over the past 300 plus years look like nothing. But that will change after I gain his unique skill and evolve my skills. Over the years since I made my unique skill, Black Heart Reactor, I saved all my magicules so Great Sage could calculate and optimize the cost to evolve my other skills. With its help, I could probably increase the effects of Black Heart Reactor without evolving it. Having fully analyzed the skill and copied it, I decided to watch the slime for a bit longer. Now that I think about it, slimes are often eaten as a dessert. I looked at the slime and saw it shiver. I can always find another slime to test it. Notice. Slimes taste best when eaten cold. Oh. Thanks, Great Sage. Being used to using thought communication, I wasn't so surprised to hear a voice in my head. It's similar to how my system was before, but it's actually talking. Great Sage, could you start doing calculations on evolving my unique skill, mystery with the least amount of magicules as possible? I asked my new skill. Notice. Starting doing calculations on evolving unique skill, mystery with the use of Lord of Heaven, a start. Good, now, if that's on the way, I should return to my castle and wait for everything to start. The first 2 years won't have anything interesting, but I think I should visit Tempest around the same time as Milim. Or I could maybe play a small prank on Rimuru. I remember someone was claiming to be Rimuru's daughter in the Tensura game. I couldn't play the game with my screen being broken, but I read people talking about her. Maybe I should prank Rimuru with something like that? Changing my appearance to look like him and just go around Tempest for a while like that. I would need to tell Milim about it so she plays along. Well, I should get going now. Good luck, little slime. With that, I left the cave and returned to my castle. Rimuru Tempest POV. Oh, before you eat me, take these books. Veldora somehow gave me books through the barrier. How can the books go through if he can't? I looked at the books. Wait, why is it named Dragon Ball? Veldora, how did you get those? Oh, so you recognize the sacred text. Veldora looked at me impressed. My rival found them during his travels around the continent and gave me them. We often discuss them together. Aren't those mangas and novels from my past life? Wait, that can wait. Veldora had a rival? You had a rival. Didn't he say he was one of the strongest beings? Then how can someone be his rival? Of course, I have a rival. We only fought once, but our fight was legendary. Yet. What was his name? I asked. If someone could be a dragon's rival, then I shouldn't offend that person. His name is Ashbourne. He usually visits me every few years with new sacred texts, so watch out. Kale Valentine POV. Around a month passed since I copied Great Sage, and during this time, the world went into a panic as Veldora completely disappeared. The now named Rimuru decided to name the goblins and dire wolves before heading toward Dworgen. Great Sage, how is the calculation going? I asked. Notice. Approximate time for complete calculation, 500 years. 500 years. Is there a way to shorten it? Notice. Evolution of copied skill, unique skill, Great Sage is required to shorten the calculation time. I see. I replied and started thinking. Evolving Great Sage would also be good. Even the 500 years that Great Sage said it would take is still around 10 times faster than what it would take me to do the calculation alone. My unique skill, mystery is a word skill, and when I calculated the cost for evolving it, I would need around 5,000 years just to store enough magicules. That's after doing me trying to reduce the amount for the past 200 plus years. While Great Sage is already shortened by a lot, it doesn't mean all I've done for the past 200 plus years was discarded. My calculations were used as a base for Great Sage to start and improve upon. Okay, put the calculation for my unique skill, mystery on hold and focus fully on getting the best results from your evolution. Notice. Starting calculation for evolution. Good, now that's done, I should visit a few people to prepare for future events. First on my list is Rimuru. I want to prepare a few prank traps for the time when Rimuru will take the kids to the dwelling of spirits. I won't put any traps that would kill or hurt them but some fun prank traps. The first one is my favorite, the flushing toilet trap, and then we could go to the making fun of their height to maybe some cake shooting traps I once read about. Then after Rimuru is done with the orc disaster, I should visit Milim and tell her about the I'm your son prank. Oh. I need to remember to call him mom instead of dad just for fun. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. Got stuck while writing a future chapter and somehow ended up going through all the comments and replies. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 60, Betrayal. Is everything done? I asked, wiping imaginary sweat from my forehead. Yup, all the traps are ready, but why did you suddenly come here to set up those traps? Rimuru asked. Oh, I just had a feeling that someone will arrive here in a few years, and it would be fun to prank them, I replied. Yeah, that sound like you. Rimuru wasn't surprised at all after knowing me for over 300 years. Hey, you are talking like the only thing I care about is people suffering. She looked at me deadpanned without saying anything, and that's a lot considering it's Rimuru. I chuckled, okay, I sometimes like to see people suffering, but you can't deny it's fun seeing them go through all those traps. Besides, it's not like they would die. Okay, maybe it's a bit fun, but you should tone it down. Don't worry. I will someday, but for now, I'm going to prepare for my next prank. I waved her goodbye before leaving for my castle so I could make my disguise. My intrinsic skill, Universal Shapeshift, is a skill I haven't used much since I got it after the Harvest Festival. The most I used it for was to change my hairstyle, but today I will use it to change my appearance completely. I started with the basics, like changing my hair from black to bluish silver and my eyes from grey to gold. As I looked at myself in the mirror, I concluded that blue hair didn't suit me, but golden eyes with black hair looked quite alright. Now then, Rimuru's height after first gaining a human body should be around 120 centimeters, and after eating the orc disaster, he should be around 130 centimeters. Wow, I didn't expect him to be that short. I was taller when I transmigrated. Anyways, I proceeded to make myself smaller to around 120 centimeters. Everything around me became gigantic. The last step was to make myself look like him. I spent some time fine-tuning my appearance like in a video game before I finally looked like an even smaller version of Rimuru. I could have asked Great Sage to do it, but I had lots of time, and it's always good to know how to use one's own skill properly. I also made clothes similar to the ones Rimuru had after becoming a demon lord but with purple details. I have decided on a backstory with me meeting Demon Lord Ashbourne, who was going to see Veldora but saw me and decided to name me Kale. Cal. Ultima stopped in her tracks and looked at me. What are you doing? She asked, recognizing me instantly. Oh, just preparing for a new prank, I answered before switching back to my normal appearance. And will that prank end up in two countries almost starting a war like the previous one? She asked. Not this time, I replied, remembering the prank she was talking about. There was an intelligent and named Slime that popped up in the Jura forest and started building a monster town. I decided to have fun, appear there, and start acting like his son. Slime? As in, the weakest type of monster? She asked, more curious about why I would even bother about a slime, even if it was intelligent rather than my prank idea. He may be a slime, but he has a human form and was named by Veldora, and after observing him for a while, he should be around the strength of a demon lord seed. Her eyes widened slightly in surprise. A slime with the strength of a demon lord seed. Yup. I nodded, but that's not all. He seemed to have caught the attention of a certain black-haired demon. Noir. I nodded. Then I want to see that slime for myself. If you and Noir are interested in him, he must be special. Of course, he is special. He will be my manga and novel supplier. Anyways, when I'm gone, try not to start a war of something. Of course, I won't. She then put her hand around my neck and kissed me. You are the one that would do that, not me. We started dating around 150 to 200 years ago. I'm not the best at remembering exact dates, even if I have an almost perfect memory, which is weird. That's true, but I never know if my demoness decides to have some fun and kill a few nobles. I chuckled and kissed her again. Oh, but didn't you kill that bug when he tried to flirt with me? He was a stereotypical young master that thought he would get everything with money, and the thing he wanted was Ultima, so I don't see anything wrong with killing him. Great Sage, how long will it take for your evolution? I asked while making the finishing touches to my disguise. Notice. Approximate time for complete calculation, 4 months. Good, then I should head towards the soon-to-be Tempest. Dash. Rimuru Tempest POV. I'm awake. Notice. You used all of your mage IQs while naming the orcs. Right. I still have a lot of orcs to name. That was only the first batch of the 150,000 orcs. I can already feel that the upcoming months will be difficult. Mom. You're awake. A stranger suddenly picked up and hugged me. Wait, why does this stranger look like me? No. 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 Why did he or she call me mom? I'm a guy. Who are you? I asked, slightly panicked. Great Sage, help. Notice. According to the information I gathered, the unknown individual is your child. That DOSNT, help. I can't have a child. I don't even have my little brother anymore. Notice. Mage IQ's signature is 86.69% identical to you. Mom, don't you remember me? He or she asked. It was hard to know the gender because he/she looked and sounded like me. Lord Rimuru, you're awake, came Shin's voice, but she paused the moment she saw who was hugging me. Lord Rimuru, who is that? Anshin. My supposed child quickly leapt towards Shin and hugged her while crying. Mom says she doesn't remember me. Mom. It was like thunder had just struck her. Lord Rimuru, you have a child, and you are the mother. And no. I tried to sort it out, but my son or daughter spoke first. Anshin, maybe if mom tastes your homemade food, then she will remember who I am. That's a great idea. Kale. What? I got betrayed by the son I didn't know I had. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. I'm going to sleep. Almost forgot about this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 61, Shin's food. Eat up, Mom, then maybe your memories will return, I said and tried my best not to laugh seeing Rimuru's horrified face seeing Shin's food. He was looking at me with a look that screamed, traitor. So. This is Lord Rimuru's son? Benimaru asked, looking at me. Yup, I said with a bright smile. He then looked at Rimuru and the bowl with Shin's cooking and had a face that told me he rather not question it any further. Rimuru looked at the food and then ate, before he had a look of enlightenment. My son, how could I forget you? How about having a meal with me? Is he trying to use me to escape? I smirked mentally. Of course, Mom, I said with a smile before sitting next to him. With all of my resistance skills, I should be alright after eating this. At this point, Rimuru was sweating as what I assumed was his plan had failed. Somehow Shin instantly placed another bowl of food. Eat up, she said with a smile. Rimuru and I both shared a look before we took a spoonful of the purple food. At the same time, we ate it, and I started chewing it before swallowing it. It wasn't that bad. I had worse in my previous life. I continued eating, minding my own business and could hear a gasp from Benimaru and Sui even who was still hiding. Impossible. He said, looking at me like I was some kind of monster. Is something wrong, Uncle Benimaru? Are you hungry too? I'm sure Anshin would make you some if you want. I said and saw him look paler with each second. And no, I just ate before coming here. He said, waving his hands frantically. I looked to my side where Rimuru was before but didn't see him there anymore. Hey? Where is Mom? I asked before looking down and noticing him melting. Oh. I'm sure he will survive this. Young Master Kale, can I ask you, why are you calling Lord Rimuru Mom? Benimaru asked me. Oh. I perked up and smiled, because it's fun seeing his reactions when I call him Mom instead of Dad. I see. He replied awkwardly, looking between the slowly recovering Rimuru and me. Then are you really Lord Rimuru's son? I was born from his magicules, I said, using universal shapeshift to change into a slime before quickly returning to my Rimuru form. Something that took me lots of time to perfect. Changing my appearance to a humanoid was easy to do, but changing into something like slime was slightly harder for me. But even if you were born from Lord Rimuru's magicules, how could you know all of us? He asked, still suspicious but trying to hide it. Acting embarrassed, I scratched my cheek. Well, after I was born, I tried to find Rimuru but got lost before meeting a nice guy who gave me a name. I think his name was Ashbourne. After that, I was scared Dad wouldn't like me, so I observed everyone before showing myself to Dad. I'm alive. Rimuru screamed while crying before looking at me and the empty bowl. How are you alive after eating that? He asked, surprised. Sniff. I pretended to cry. Anshin, Mom doesn't want me, and said your food is bad. A dark aura appeared behind us, and Rimuru instantly shuddered in fear and looked at me with pleading eyes to save him. I think that was enough fun, so I will help him this time. Mom, can we go and see Uncle Hakura? Yes, that's a good idea. Rimuru said and quickly dragged me away. Dash. I'm safe. Rimuru breathed a sigh of relief before turning his attention to me. So now. Son. Yeah, Mom. I asked with a smile. Firstly, it's Dad. I'm a guy. He said, almost crying. Okay, Mom, I said with a salute. I saw his eyes twitching. Okay, the second question, how are you, my son? Oh. Right. You fell asleep while eating, so you didn't hear. I then proceeded to explain everything as I did to Benimaru. Okay, so if I got everything right, Rimuru paused for a moment to gather his thoughts. You were born from my magicules near the sealed cave and then tried to find me before meeting Ashbourne, who gave you a name. Then you observed us because you were scared before eventually deciding to show yourself. Did I miss something? He asked. No, I think that's it. I stopped and pretended to think. Oh, now that I remember, Ashbourne said that he was looking after the person that made Veldora disappear and looked angry. Rimuru looked scared for a moment. Are you sure his name was Ashbourne? He asked, and I nodded. Am I really that scary? Mom, why are you so scared of Mr. Ashbourne? He was nice and even gave me this book. I said, taking out a book with Dragon Ball on the cover. Dash. Rimuru Tempest POV. Okay, so I now have a son. I got a son, and I'm still a virgin. Not only that, but he also calls me Mom instead of Dad. Mom, why are you so scared of Mr. Ashbourne? He was nice and even gave me this book. He said, taking out a book with Dragon Ball on the cover. Wait, is that? Oh, right, I forgot Veldora said Ashbourne used to give him mangas or, as they called it, sacred texts. Wait. This could work, great sage. What are the chances of him starting calling me Dad after giving him more manga? Notice. Approximately 95%. Yes. Great sage, create all the Dragon Ball mangas and others. Even if I'm genderless, I don't want to be called a mom. Notice. Task complete. Hey, Kale, look what I have. I showed him the manga in my hand. If you start calling me Dad, then I will give you this one and many more. I think I saw stars in his eyes as he snatched the manga out of my hands and hugged me. Thanks, Dad. Good, now, instead of being a single mother, I have become a single father. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 62, Pranking Rimuru. Again. So, how was the food? Shuna asked me. Some time passed, and during that time, Rimuru went back into his recovery mode after naming so many orcs. In the meantime, not many people know of my existence. The only people that know me are the Kaijin, Renga, and Rigurd. It's good, Aunt Shuna, I replied with a smile, enjoying the food. While Shin's food wasn't that bad compared to the food Shuna makes is much better. Then eat up you poor little child, she said, giving me head pats. After she heard, I ate and enjoyed Shin's food. She looked at me with pity thinking of how bad my life before coming here was. Well, I have 3 days before Rimuru wakes up, so I should come up with good ways to mess with Rimuru. I have some time to think of something, and during this time, I can also read different mangas. I made a simple trade deal with Rimuru. I called him dad instead of mom, and he gave me lots of manga. Hehehe. I chuckled darkly as a plan. Oh Rimuru, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. Who am I kidding? I'm not sorry at all. Young master, why are you laughing? Shuna asked with her usual smile. I coughed, nothing Aunt Shuna. I was just excited to train in swordsmanship with Uncle Hakura. He should be done training the others, so he will be here soon. If I remember correctly, Hakura impressed Milim with his sword techniques. Plus, he never ventured out into the world. Instead, he quietly polished his sword skills. He became the strongest swordsman in the ogre tribe, so I could learn a lot from him. While we both are similar in age, I'm sure his swordsmanship is much better than mine. While he spent most of the time polishing his swordsmanship, I spent that time learning multiple things but mostly focusing on magic. Having limited my strength to what it was around when I was in the Jura forest for the first time with Grino. I dodged and blocked Hakura's attacks and observed and analyzed them simultaneously. Something I often do when fighting more experienced opponents is to learn and improve my own fighting style. I must admit his ability to mask his presence is quite good. If all my strength returned to the same it was back then I wouldn't notice him in time. Ha ha ha. Hakura laughed while stroking his beard, you have quite the potential for swordsmanship young lord. I still have a long way to go, I replied and was ready to continue. Like I told myself before, while I still consider my swordsmanship lacking compared to my other fields, like magic. Even though it had improved significantly over the years, when I decided to have some fun and fight against Milim, I would still say it was lacking. Ramaris was a great help with her intrinsic skill, small world that made us an area where we could fight without destroying anything important. I should also use the chance I have to copy Rimuru's gluttony while he is sleeping. I already copied Mom's lust skill a while back. I will do it after I'm done with my sword training. That would make 3 of the 7 sin skills, or rather unique skills that will later evolve into the sin skills. Should I go for the full set? To be honest, the only sin skills I'm thinking of besides the ones I copied would be greed, currently in possession of a kid that shouldn't be around 7 or 8 right now. Well, I guess I will be stealing candy from a kid. Well, not exactly stealing if I copy it, but that doesn't matter. I looked at my shadow and mentally sent the orders. Instantly my shadow stretched and went toward the kingdom of Sildrasso. I will do it during the night, but for now, let's get Rimuru's gluttony before he wakes up. That style of swordsmanship. Hakura paused and observed me for a while before a knowing look crossed his face. It seems that even after almost 300 years, you still kept your childish nature and, as you call it, troll people. Hey? What do you? I stopped as a memory of around 200 years ago, when I was less than 30 years old, flashed through my mind. I stumbled upon a young swordmaster. Wait, you can't be. Ho ho ho, he laughed, stroking his beard. It seems that I'm not the only one that changed since the last time we met. I remember you being taller and looking completely different, he said. I scratched the back of my head. Could you keep this a secret from the others? I haven't had this much fun trolling anyone in a couple of decades. Don't worry. I know if you meant harm to anyone here, you would already have done it, and there wouldn't be anything we could do. He then came up closer and whispered to me, if you want to troll Lord Rimuru, then do this. A smirk formed on my face as my mind started forming a new prank idea. After finishing my training, I walked up to the sleeping form of Rimuru, almost drooling at the thought of being able to acquire a skill that could become one of the most powerful compared to all the other skills. If I ranked every skill, the top would belong to Great Sage and whatever it will evolve into. Speaking of evolving, I'm curious if my it will evolve into Raphael or something different. After I successfully copied Gluttony, I waited until nightfall and Shadow Exchange to copy Greed. The little kid didn't even notice anything happening as I did it hidden in the shadows. Could I mix Death's Touch together with Death Wish from Greed and Embrace Drain from Lust? Rimuru has fully recharged and woken up from his sleeping mode, so it's time for me to start the manga prank v1.3. Dad. I said, tugging on his shirt. Dad. I said again. Oh. What is it? Cal. Son. He said he was still not used to being called Dad. Dad, why are there naked elves in the manga you gave me? I asked. What? She screamed, scared and embarrassed at the same time. Yeah, look, I gave him the thing I made when he was sleeping. I think as something went wrong when I was making tea them for you. He paused while sweating heavily. I will be taking this. He took it and stored it instead of destroying it. Why were they who? Emiboom. Rimuru quickly covered my mouth so I couldn't speak, as Rimuru was completely embarrassed. Please forget about this, he said before muttering, not even a week, and I failed as a father, he cried. But why? I asked, tilting my head while enjoying this little prank. Maybe I should ask Aunt Shuna. Please just forget it, he said, sweating before giving me a stack of new mangas. Here, if you forget it, then you can have these. Forget what, Dad? I don't remember anything, I lied with a smile and took them before quickly going inside to read. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 63, Gazel Dwargo. About 3 months had passed since I started acting as Rimuru's son, and I had some fun trolling him. And I think it's safe to say that Rimuru has aged a couple of years due to it. Great sage, how long until your evolution? I asked while waiting for my food. Notice. Approximate time for complete calculation, 28 days. Good, the end game is slowly approaching, and I need to get stronger in the short amount of time I have left. Eat up, Kale. Rimuru said, placing a plate with a cheeseburger on it. This is called a cheeseburger, he explained. I looked at it confused, tilting my head slightly and looking at him. Where is the knife and fork? I asked. No, you don't eat cheeseburgers with a knife and fork. Look, he said, picking up his cheeseburger and flipping it upside down before eating it. Who flips a burger upside down while eating? I can ask later. Oh, I see, I said with wide eyes before cautiously picking the burger up as if it would bite me. Oh, it's good. Is this why everybody liked fast food in my previous life? No wonder if it's supposed to taste good like this one. The burger had a delicious juicy patty with a crispy exterior that gave it a satisfying crunch with every bite. The melted cheese on top added a creamy and savory element that perfectly complemented the sweet and tangy flavor of the caramelized onions, which tasted like jam. The whole burger was elevated by the addition of a tasty sauce that tied all the flavors together in a harmonious blend. Try it with these, Rimuru said, placing another plate before me, but this time with French fries. I reached for the fry and savored the crispy outer layer as I bit down. I couldn't get enough of their delicious taste and satisfying crunch as I continued to enjoy the salty goodness. Ah, if you think this is delicious, wait until I make ramen and tonkatsu, but most importantly, wait until I get my hands on rice. Rimuru said, and I could see him drooling slightly, just thinking about recreating more dishes. Rice? What's that, Dad? I asked, acting confused. Ah, you will see when I recreate it, he said, looking proud of himself. Is that like those drugs in the manga you gave me? I asked. PFFF. Rimuru choked on the water he was drinking before looking at me and muttering, no, I did it again. Dad, are you alright? I asked, enjoying this a bit more than I should. Yes, I am. He then came up to me and patted me on the shoulder. I failed as a father. Hey, why? Are the drugs they called Sour Patch Kids bad? Hey. We both looked at each other. Rimuru looked dumbfounded. Sour Patch Kids. Yeah, I nodded. They said Sour Patch Kids are the best kind of drugs. I think Rimuru was about to start crying. I think I need to go to sleep. But Dad, you don't need to sleep. I need now. I enjoyed messing with him. What should I do next? I started thinking of my next plan to mess with him as Sui appeared. Lord Rimuru, we have an emergency. What happened, Sui? Rimuru asked. I've spotted an armed force in the sky to the north. I put their number at around 500. Oh, right, this should be around the time when Gazel arrives. I remember messing with him. Looking up in the sky, I saw an army of around 500 flying on Pegasuses. I kinda want one of them for myself. Just imagining entering a battle on a shadow Pegasus and everyone's reactions would be worth it. Hang on, Kaijin, what are you doing? Hurry up and evacuate. Rimuru said, noticing Kaijin, who was looking at the incoming army through a spyglass. Actually, I might know who that is. He looked at Rimuru. I once shared drinks with an old retired general who told me that the Dwarven King commands a top-secret force of his own. And you think this might be them? Rimuru asked. Kaijin nodded, I do, especially since they are called the Pegasus Knights. I want one for myself, I said, still looking at the Pegasuses and imagining myself on one of them. It's good to see you are well, King Gazel. I started tuning out their conversation and continued looking at the Pegasus. Ha. Ha 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 ha. A sudden laugh from Gazel snapped me out, and I looked at what was happening. Well, if the overseer of the forest says so herself, then it must be true. I apologize for doubting you, Rimuru. I think I saw Rimuru deadpan, but I think that was my imagination. However, I still need to confirm for myself. Draw your weapon. As I looked at them, ready to start the duel, I remembered something. For a while now, I have been thinking of getting myself a dagger or something akin to a mix between a dagger and a short sword for my second weapon. As I was thinking, I felt something akin to a slight breeze hit me, so I looked in the direction it came from and noticed that Gazel was using Hero's Haki. He has gotten stronger since the last time I saw him. After a while, Rimuru managed to undo it, and Gazel used Haze of Rumbling Heavens. This sword technique conceals the user's presence to the point of not even being detectable by magic sense, attacking the enemy from behind with a bottom-to-top slash followed by a top-to-bottom slash. Well, Rimuru managed to stop it, but the technique itself is pretty impressive. In that case, the winner is Rimuru Tempest. Trenny declared, and cheers erupted from Rimuru's subordinates followed it. HOH, HOH, HOH. Hakuro stepped forwards, well played, Lord Rimuru. But you have much to learn about the offense. The lessons will be harder tomorrow. He then looked at Gazel. I thought my lord's opponent seemed rather fierce with the blade, and it turned out to be you. You've made great advances. Now Rimuru was truly dumbfounded as Gazel and Hakura started speaking. I remember teaching the sword to a mere boy wandering the woods. They are fond memories now. It is an honor to hear those words from you, savant. How long ago was that? 300 years. After finishing their small talk, Gazel turned to me and then to Rimuru. Is this? He asked. Rimuru, slightly surprised not having noticed I was standing beside him the whole time, introduced me. Oh, this is Kale. My son. Your son? Gazel asked. Well, Magi-born son would be the best way to describe it. I gave him a smile that sent shivers down his spine before he looked at Hakura, who nodded. IISC, he placed a hand on Rimuru's shoulder. I heard that it's best to keep kids away from feathers and any sort of sticky substance. I'll keep that in mind. As he said that, I kept smiling, remembering the small pranks I pulled on him when he was training under Hakura. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. For other LN readers. Everyone is talking about origin skills, while my monkey brain can't remember if origin skills are a WN only thing or if they appeared in LN. Like for example, I know that Magi-Cool Breeder Reactor is classified as an origin skill in WN but in LN it's a sub-skill of Satanale. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 64, Exposed. A monster's threat level is vague categories and not set in stone. As they rise, they go from hazard to calamity to disaster. Gazel started explaining the threat levels of monsters. For example, the Orc Lord you fought was a hazard even with his army. Rimuru looked interested. What is a Demon Lord classified as? He asked. A Demon Lord is a disaster, Gazel answered before looking seriously at Rimuru. This is because an enraged Demon Lord is as destructive as a natural disaster. If you should run across one, heed my advice and let it be. He said as I, a Demon Lord, peacefully listened and ate the food. Are they really that powerful? Rimuru asked. Yes. Gazel answered. I remember when I was still a young child, I heard the news of how the new Demon Lord Ashbourne easily wiped out an army of 30,000 soldiers without breaking a sweat. That's true, but you should know that the Demon Lord you are talking about is currently sitting across from you. I don't think Demon Lord Ashbourne is such a bad person, I said. Gazel looked to be thinking before saying anything. After the army was wiped out, everyone agreed not to come close to his castle. There were people foolish enough to try and challenge him, and they were never seen again. He sighed, though from I heard that his castle is a sight to behold. I nodded mentally. Gazel certainly knows his stuff to recognize the magnificent sight of my castle. Aren't those categories kind of broad, though? There are only 3 levels, so each covers a lot of ground. If Demon Lords are classified as a disaster, then is a true dragon also classified as a disaster? No, there is actually a 4th level known as catastrophe. These represent literal natural catastrophes. Attracting the wrath of one might as well mean the end of the world. That's the level of a true dragon. Ugh. Rimuru thought about it for a moment. Wouldn't there be Demon Lords that are at level? He asked. There have been rumors about a selected few of them being at that level, but nothing has ever been confirmed. I see, Rimuru said while thinking. As I was about to take a sip of the alcohol, Rimuru snatched the cup and replaced it with a cup of green tea. Rimuru, are you interested in entering a treaty with me? Gazel asked. Hey. Rimuru just looked at him with a look that said, what is this crazy old man thinking? The layout and construction of the town is fantastic. I'm certain it could be the center of a bustling trade network. Such a place would benefit from an established nation ensuring its safety, Gazel explained. And that's how Tempest took its first step toward becoming the nation of monsters. Oh, Milim is here. I thought, and not long after, I saw Rimuru speeding in his slime, so I decided to follow slowly behind, as I knew he could handle her without any problems. As I caught up, I saw Milim poking Rimuru, who was in his slime form. Hello, my name is Rimuru. On Gelmud's crystal ball, you looked like a silver-haired human. So is this your true form, then? She asked, picking him up. Rimuru quickly transformed into his human form, still being held up by Milim, making it a funny sight. You're referring to this form? Yes. She said with a smile and put him down and walked in circles and observed him before her sight landed on me. Oh, Kale. You're here too. My eyes twitched as she possibly exposed me. I told her to act as if she didn't know me. Wait. I forgot to tell her. As Rimuru looked at me confused, Shun, who appeared not so long ago, attacked Milim. Ranga, take Lord Rimuru and the young master to safety. Now. She shouted. Understood. Ranga responded and quickly picked Rimuru onto his back before also grabbing me and running away. I just observed everything as everything was happening. Wait. Ranga, stop. Rimuru said, but Ranga didn't stop. I said stop. Rimuru grabbed onto a tree branch stopping Ranga in his tracks but also sending me flying. Of course, I landed on my feet and continued to watch the small fight between the Kaijin and Milim as if nothing had happened. Sui caught Milim in his webs before Benimaru threw a ball of hell flare that expanded as it came into contact with Milim. Wahahaha. An attack of this level might have actually injured another demon lord. Milim said as she came out of the black flames without any injuries, but that won't work on me. She released a bit of her aura, sending them flying and making a small crater where she stood. Rimuru quickly gave healing potions to everyone before looking at Milim, who stood there with her arms crossed and a smile. Get some rest. I'll handle the rest. What followed was the most anticlimactic fight I've ever seen as Rimuru shoved a golden sticky substance into Milim's mouth. What is this? It's so delicious. Are you curious as to what I gave you? Rimuru asked, acting completely smug, probably forgetting that he showed a sticky substance into the mouth of someone that looked like a kid. If you admit that I've won this time, I might give you the rest. Rimuru then proceeded to eat some of the honey. If you don't want it I think I will have the rest. But sweet. Cakes. Sweet with cakes. Ah. She seemed to be in a big dilemma. Wait. I have a proposal. A draw. We call it a draw. I'll even swear an oath not to harm your people in the future. She then pointed at me. Kale, as another demon lord, can be the witness to that. The attention turned to me, and I fully knew my cover was blown, just as I was about to do my ultimate prank. I muttered and saw Rimuru and the others staring at me. Though Rimuru seemed to be out of focus. No, it's his mimicry skill that seemed to be broken. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. Just woke up, so the chapter is a few hours late. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 65, New Ultimate Skill. I fake coughed, scratched the back of my head, and saw Rimuru looking at me. I was slightly bored, and after I saw you eat Veldora, I decided to have some fun pretending to be your son. Rimuru, whose mimicry skill started working again after almost 5 hours, deadpanned, how is pretending to be my son supposed to be fun? There wasn't anything new and exciting over the years, and when I was about to visit Veldora, I saw an intelligent slime, so I kept an eye on you. Then you got a human form, so I decided to pull a small prank. Rimuru was silent and looked at me for what seemed like hours. Why do I feel like a kid who's about to be scolded? It seems I did a bad job as a father, so as your punishment, I'll be taking all the mangas and novels until further notice, he said, standing up. Wait. You know I'm not really your son, right? I asked. Oh, but you pretended to be one, so I will treat you like one, he said, and I saw the hundreds of mangas disappear into Gluttony's stomach. My manga. I cried. A few hours passed after I lost all my mangas and novels, and I saw Rimuru thinking about what I'd said. Wait, so you, Ashbourne, and Milim are demon lords. Could you tell me something about the others? You know, after me treating you like a son for so long, you could at least do that. He tried to guilt-trip me into giving him some information. While I can't tell you much about the other demon lords, you should know that at your current level, even the weakest one is stronger than you, I said, which was true at the moment. Rimuru would be considered special A class by the future Tempest ranking system. Oh, and Ashbourne and I are the same person. Hey. His eyes widened slightly. So you are the Ashbourne that Veldora has been talking about being his rival. Didn't expect Veldora's rival to pretend to be my son. I awkwardly scratched the back of my head. That's what he's been calling me over the past 300 years, but we actually fought once, and I was so drunk that time that I don't remember much. You fought Veldora while being drunk. Hey, I was going through some stuff back then, got drunk, found a sleeping dragon, and like they say, the only way to wake up a sleeping dragon is to strike it where it doesn't have scales. Rimuru's had a terrified expression and backed away from me. Hey, I don't normally act like that, I said, looking at him. Oh, and just call me Kale. Not many have seen my true face or know my real name. So keep it a secret, I said, changing to my true appearance. Don't worry, I won't, he said. Oh, and another piece of advice, Rimuru, I looked at him seriously, you shouldn't be so trusting in the future. Especially now that you established a magical treaty with the armed nation of Dworgen, this place will be seen as a nation and, coupled with its location and the fact that its citizens are monsters, could cause a serious problem. I'll keep that in mind, he said, and we sat in silence, drinking the green tea Shuna prepared for us. Could you tell me why you became a demon lord? He asked after a while. I hummed, remembering the day I first met Guy and became a demon lord. It's probably the most boring reason out of all the demon lords. I chuckled, I didn't have any other choice. I encountered a demon lord and wasn't that strong back then. Thankfully the demon lord was interested in my ability and strength and offered me to become one myself. So the demon lords are truly that powerful, hey? Rimuru murmured to himself but I heard it. They are. He was only playing around while I was going all out, but the only thing I managed to do was a few drops of blood. Rimuru looked deep in thought after I said, but even if I said I was weak back then, compared to your current strength, I was around 10 times stronger. Well, that should be enough of bragging about myself. I mentally chuckled, but don't worry, most demon lords are weaker than Milim and the one I fought. That's really reassuring. Rimuru deadpanned, do you regret it? He asked, curious. There were things I did I regretted after becoming one, but that's another story, I said. Bad memories? Rimuru asked. I nodded, you could say that. I shrugged it off, anyways, as an apology for pretending to be your son, if you ever need any help, just contact me, and I will help you. I said before standing up. Hey? You are leaving. Yeah, there are things I need to do, and it would be awkward to stay here after everything, I said before teleporting back to my castle. Rimuru Tempest POV. Now that Kale or Ashbourne left. Great Sage, want to explain yourself? Notice. I don't know what you are talking about, Master. My eyes twitched, don't know my ass. Notice. It was for the greater good. Okay, now Dumble, who's greater good? Notice. Master has now gained what you would call IOU from Demon Lord Ashbourne. And how did you know it was him? Notice. Veldora. Of course, he knew about it the whole time. Dash. Kale Valentine POV. Notice. Approximate time for complete calculation, 1 minute. During the past couple of days, I remained in my castle and waited. It would be slightly awkward to stay in Tempest after being exposed for pretending to be the leader's son. Notice. The calculations are complete. Do you want to start the evolution? Y/N. Yes. Notice. Evolution of unique skill, Great Sage will now begin. I felt my mage IQs starting to drain in order for the evolution to happen. And it wasn't a small amount either, but considering the quality of the skill, I'm willing to do them on it. While having a lot of mage IQs is important for me, especially when using my shadows, with how much my magical capacity increased over the years, I would be willing to use it to gain more powerful skills. Unique skill, Great Sage has evolved into ultimate skill, Goddess of Wisdom, Athena. Goddess of Wisdom, Athena, hey? Quite a name, Athena, are you there? Notice. Of course. She answered and didn't sound as robotic as before. Also, Athena was its own skill now and not a copied skill inside of Mystery. Could you check on my unique skill, Black Heart Reactor, and if there is a way to improve it without the need for evolution? I asked. Even if I said I'm willing to use the mage IQs for the evolution, it would be best to regain as much as possible in the shortest time possible. Especially after the skill took 1/4 of my mage IQs to evolve, and considering my extremely large capacity, that's a lot. The skill has been optimized. The generation of mage IQs has doubled. For further increase, the evolution of the skill would be required. Then start the calculations for the skill's evolution. The approximate time for complete calculation, 7 days. That's not that long, I muttered. Compared to the months it took for Great Sage to evolve into Athena, 7 days is nothing. It shows the difference between a unique skill and an ultimate skill. I would also categorize Black Heart Reactor at the level of an ultimate skill due to its combination of an ultimate skill and an intrinsic skill. I would also categorize it as a power similar to an ultimate skill because it generates mage IQs. Athena, if I copy an angelic skill, would you be able to remove the effects of ultimate dominion? I asked. Notice. With enough preparation before copying the skill, it's possible. How long will it take for you to do it? I asked. Notice. Already done. I think I heard smugness in her tone. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. I noticed that the save button doesn't always save. Sometimes when I make minor changes like changing its to its it doesn't save. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 66, Chapter 66, Skill Upgrade. Notice. The calculation for the evolution of unique skill, Black Heart Reactor is now fully complete. Then start the evolution, Athena. I said. Notice. During the calculation, I've found that the best result is to combine the unique skill, Black Heart Reactor together with ultimate skill Shadow Monarch, Ashbourne. I hummed and started thinking about what she just said. There shouldn't be any issue if the skills combine together, then start combining the skills together, Athena. Notice. Combining of unique skill, Black Heart Reactor with ultimate skill, Shadow Monarch, Ashbourne will now begin. It didn't take long for Athena to merge the two skills, and in just a couple of minutes, I heard her voice again. Notice. Both skills have been combined. I felt slight changes after both the skill combined, and I felt my Shadow Soldier's strength increase. Athena, what changed after both of the skills combined? I asked. Notice. All Shadow's strength has been increased. Also, the effects of Black Heart have increased by 3 times. You can also enable Wrath mode for the Shadows giving them a boost in strength, but they will be taken over by Wrath, destroying everything in their wake. 3 times. I said as my eyes widened as even after Athena had already doubled the effects of Black Heart Reactor and now, after merging with my ultimate skill, it tripled. That's a total of a 7.5x boost from the time it was an intrinsic skill. Then there is Wrath mode, something truly terrifying, depending on how it's used. Athena is really amazing. HMPF. Did you just HMPF me? I asked. Notice. It's just your imagination. No, I'm pretty sure you did just HMPF me. Notice. It's just your imagination. Okay, if you say so. Then could you start the calculation for the evolution of Mystery. Hey, Kale, did you do something? Ultima entered my office while eating a cookie, because my strength increased. She said, looking at me for an explanation. I hummed and thought about it. Her host body is technically made of my shadows, and I named her, so her increase in strength should be due to the skill combination. My skill had a slight change that could be the cause. Your skill changed? She asked, curiously tilting her head. Yeah, I was working on some things, and it triggered an I thought about how to best describe it. It wasn't a full evolution but something akin to that, you could say a semi-evolution. You know you are a cheat. She said, looking at me. I smirked, and I take pride in it, I replied smugly. Tisk, she clicked her tongue, sometimes you can be really annoying, she said, sitting down on the sofa and hugging a pillow while glaring at me. What can I say, I chuckled, you look cute when you're annoyed. She threw the pillow at me. I easily caught it and used it as a headrest. Hey, how about we go to Ingracia? I heard the confectioner Kaoru Yashida made a new pasty. Seeing as I got Ultima's full attention now, I smirked and said, apparently, people say they never had anything that tasty in their life. Even the Empress of Sorcerer's Dynasty Sarian enjoyed it. Ultima expressed her doubts, it can't be that good. But I could tell she was interested. But if you think it's good, then I'll check it out. I playfully teased her, sure thing, my little Tsundere demoness. She quickly corrected me, I'm not a Tsundere. I tried again, how about Cookie Demon? This time, her eye twitched with annoyance. Says the battle maniac, she shot back. I couldn't help but retort, you're the last person who should be talking about being a battle maniac. And with how many cookies you eat, I'm surprised you're not overweight. As soon as the words left my mouth, I knew I had made a mistake. What did you call me? She asked calmly, but I could sense the killing intent in her tone. As soon as I realized the mistake I had made, I quickly tried to backtrack. I'm sorry, Ultima. With how old you are, you shouldn't get mad over a little joke. I winced, realizing that my apology might not have been the best choice of words. Unfortunately, while trying to make the situation better, I made it worse. Oh, so now I'm old, hey. Ultima's expression turned to one of annoyance, and I knew I had to salvage the situation quickly. I didn't mean it like that, Ultima. I just meant that with all of your experience and wisdom, you shouldn't let a silly joke get to you. I hoped that would fix it. Thankfully, Ultima's expression softened, and a small smile appeared on her face. You're right. I shouldn't let something so small bother me. But you will buy all the sweets I want, right? I breathed a sigh of relief. I should remember that there are two things you don't tell or ask a woman, them being anything about their age or weight. Dash. Leaving the cafe, Ultima was munching on melon bread while I held a full bag of it. I looked at the bag, then at Ultima, and then at the bag again. Will she eat all of that? How can someone even eat that much melon bread without getting fat? Ultima sent me a glare as if she knew exactly what I was thinking while angrily eating the bread, and I sighed. How is it that women always know when you are thinking something about them, especially if it's about those specific two things? Well, I didn't want to die even if I could probably revive myself later on, so I decided to stop thinking about it. Athena, how long will it take for the calculation to be complete? I asked. Notice. The approximate time for complete calculation, 1 year 4 months. That's good. The few hundred years that it would take for Great Sage became less than 2 years after Athena's evolution. I have big expectations for the power of the skill after it evolves into an ultimate skill. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 67, Chapter 67, Memories of the Future or Past. Notice. Sealed memories have been found. Do you want to unlock the memories? Yes/no. Sealed memories. I said aloud. Could that be the memories of the 10 years before I took over the body? Yes. Show me the memories, Athena. I said, not knowing what I would see next. Notice. Unsealing the memories. After she said that, my vision turned dark before my surrounding changed. I looked around. Everything around me was in flames. Amidst the debris and eerie silence, I felt a sense of unease. I had no idea what the memories could be from. This didn't happen in my previous life, nor could it have happened during the 10 years before my arrival in this world. As I explored the vast surroundings, I couldn't help but wonder what had happened here. That was until I saw a single person that looked to be dying on the ground. He had long black hair and red eyes. I instantly recognized the person. How could I not? The only difference was the eyes. Unlike my grey eyes, he had red eyes. But other than that, he looked like an exact copy of myself. A wave of confusion filled my head as I looked at my lookalike and around, seeing the destruction everywhere. What is happening here? Why am I dying? Is this another timeline? What caused this? Questions like these once filled my mind. It was then that the silence was broken by the other me. This is the only way. He began, another chance. He coughed out blood as he was slowly dying. To fix this. His body began to glow before slowly disintegrating into red particles flying toward the sky. My vision became distorted before it changed completely to a white room, a hospital. Looking around, I saw people I knew. They were my parents from my previous life. But unlike how I remember right now, they looked at the baby my mother held with love. Wait. Was I Kale all along? Did Kale reincarnate himself into my past self that later on reincarnated into Kale again? As I was thinking about that, my previous life played out in a third-person perspective for me. The way I was treated changed over time without any real reason, as if they were influenced by magic. Everything happened up until my last day in the world. I saw my body again disintegrate into particles, but instead of just red, this time, it was a mix of red and blue that slowly combined into purple. My vision blurred again. Just like before this time, I was born again, but it looked like the purple particles were swirling around me and slowly being absorbed by my body. The first 10 years of this life I didn't have any memories of played out just like my mother had told me, right until I was captured and slowly dying. That's when the last purple particle entered my body, and I slowly healed before my eyes opened. My vision turned dark again before I was back in my office again. The first 10 years of memories before my reincarnation entered my mind, and I didn't know what to say. If I really was Kale Valentine in my first life, then why don't I have more memories from that life? Notice. The sacrificial spell you used caused almost your whole spiritual body to be destroyed and your astral body to be sent across space and time before your soul combined with the soul of your second life. I see. Was that also the cause of how my family treated me in my previous life? I asked, hoping that Athena would have the answer. Notice. The possibility is very high that as you had a mixture of two souls, one a human and another a monster soul, could affect weaker souls. Haha. I let out a dry laugh. I didn't know what to think exactly. I was glad I finally knew why they treated me like they did, and I actually didn't take over the body of Valentine, but I was him. But on the other hand, there was some bitterness that because I did that in my first life, I lived a bad second life. Maybe I would be angrier about it if I had known when I was younger, but now it feels easy to accept it, and I could see myself doing something similar if there was a need to do it. Wait, what about the Tensura novel I read in that life? I asked. Notice. There is a high possibility of time travel involved. Time travel? I think I will need a strong drink again. Everything just got a lot more complicated. Dash. Hey, did you know I was Kale all along? I said, completely drunk. Hey? What are you saying right now? Ultima asked, completely confused as if I had grown a second head. It's just that I found out I was Valentine, I chuckled. Did you drink so much that you even forgot your own name? She deadpanned and looked at me. I hummed, counting the multiple flying chibi Ultimas on the ceiling in a circular pattern, maybe, hee hee. I started chuckling. I don't think you should drink more today. She replied, taking away my glass of wine. It's just that. It's good to know you were always you. You know. I said, slowly falling asleep on Ultima's lap. Erg. I groggily woke up with a splitting headache. I wished that enabling the poison nullification again would remove hangovers too. Unfortunately, it didn't, so I needed to deal with it. Erg. Ultima also woke up and quickly covered her eyes from the sun that shone through the window. Turn off the Sunday. She said before she wrote runes in the air to block the window. Much better. I deadpanned, really, using your new unique skill for something like that? I asked. She looked at me, you're the last one to say that. She said groggily while massaging her forehead, don't you use material creation for almost everything? Besides, this counts as training. Over the years, she became interested when I was trying to make rune magic. While I didn't make much progress, she continued my studies and was rewarded with her unique skill, rune magecraft. Well, that's true. I said, dropping the topic. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. First life Kale, it's just a prank bro. Third life Kale. Rimuru, now you can understand how I feel. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 68, Charybdis. It was magically sealed in the distant past. I cannot imagine the seal would come undone without any reason. Indeed, my sister Trenny is busy holding it back, but she will not last very long. A dryad I didn't recognize said. I secretly listened to the conversations, with Milim being the only one that noticed my presence. I have mastered the ability to stand so incredibly still that I become invisible to the weak eye. Some time passed since I learned that this was actually my third life. I tried to find anything about the spell I could have used but found nothing. Reincarnating is one thing, but sending one's soul across space and time is another. I've heard that no magic could affect it. Legends say it can control monsters from another world. They started talking while Rimuru looked confused, so I decided to reveal myself. I heard that the meat from the monster it summons is delicious. I said, and everyone except for Milim got on guard hearing a new voice. Rimuru, who was in Milim's arms and closest to me, jumped in fright. Son. I mean, Kale, since when were you here? He asked. Hey. I pretended to be confused, I've been here since the beginning. I was standing so incredibly still that I became invisible. Kale has been here since the beginning, Milim confirmed. I could see Rimuru's slime from sweating, so why are you here? He asked cautiously. I heard Charybdis was in town, and I wanted to get some megalodons. Rimuru, seeing an opportunity, asked, Megalodons are those the monster it summons? I smiled, yup, they are pretty weak flying shark monsters, and from what I've heard, they taste pretty good. Is there anything else you could tell us about it? Rimuru asked. At this moment, he should have the basic information about Charybdis from Great Sage and would easily understand more after seeing it in person, so I didn't see a problem telling them everything I knew about it. Born from a cloud of Veldora's magicules, and could be called Veldora's child. It was previously sealed by the hero somewhere in the Jura forest a few centuries ago. The only thing that stops it from being classified as a disaster class is the inability of rational thought. I looked around and saw everyone listening to me, so I continued. It also has a few skills like gravity manipulation, magic gemming, magic sense, ultra speed regeneration, pain nullification, physical attack resistance, and paralysis resistance. It also can shoot a laser beam from its eye and shoot its scales. I already saw Rimuru thinking of a plan for how to deal with it now that he knew what it was capable of. Don't worry, Rimuru. That fish may be big, but it is still just a fish for the both of us. Milim said. Kale, Milim. Rimuru said with a smile like all his problems were resolved. Unfortunately for him, Shun shattered all his hopes in an instant. We cannot allow you to do that, Lord Kale and Lady Milim. This is our town and our problem. That's right. We can't take advantage of you to have you solve all of our problems for us. When Lord Rimuru is completely at a loss, and we have no other option, only then would we humbly wish for your help in the matter. Shuna said, and I looked at Rimuru, who had all his hopes shattered at this point. That's right. Have some faith in me. He said while internally he was crying. Dash. Hey, they are actually doing some damage, I said while munching on popcorn. During my travels over the years, I found a vegetable that closely resembled corn, so I made popcorn. Milim, who was eating popcorn under the shade of a tree observing the fight, nodded, but I want to fight it. As the fight continued as they took out all the megalodons, Charybdis decided to shoot its scales in a storm of blades towards them. Rimuru decided to use his new skill, the evolved form of predator he got after fusing it with the Orc Lord's Starved, the skill I copied during my stay here as Rimuru's son, the unique skill, Gluttony. A vortex shot out of his hand and devoured all the scales in an instant. Seeing as the attack worked, he decided to eat Charybdis itself, but unfortunately for him, it didn't work, but the sub-skill corrosion still had some effect on it. Everyone attacked Charybdis, and the battle continued for 10 hours. Just as Rimuru was about to retreat and consider a new plan of attack, Charybdis spoke, How dare you? Milim. I followed Milim, who quickly made her way toward Rimuru. Ah, yes. I recognize this presence. I believe this is the Magen known as Phobio. Well, Charybdis doesn't have a material body and needs a host, so he must have been used as a vessel, I said, nonchalantly looking at the big but still weak monster. Milim and I could defeat it with a sneeze if we wanted. What did you do to offend this Phobio guy? I asked. Hey, Rimuru. Milim said, flying above Rimuru. Rimuru knew exactly what she wanted and was happy with it. Fine. I agree. This visitor is here to see you. He then used thought communication to have everyone retreat. I've learned how to hold back, as you call it. Here's a good test of my lessons. Milim said, kicking Charybdis away, let me show you. She charged up her Drago Buster, and as I saw the output of it, I patted Rimuru on the shoulder. Wow, she is really holding back a lot. If it was her previously, that attack would have enough power to wipe everyone here besides myself and Milim. That's I chuckled, don't worry, Milim likes you, and I want my mangas back, so you don't have to worry about us. I wasn't. Wait, you are doing this all to get manga? I deadpanned, do you know how hard it is to come across other worlders with the ability to create mangas? The first one called himself a mangaka and created a few for me, but he died of old age a couple of decades after. A loud bang resounded through the area as Charybdis's body was destroyed, and a human-shaped being started plummeting towards the ground. You should go catch him before he crashes. I said, pointing at the falling Phobio. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 69, Exposed again. Rimuru quickly caught the falling Phobio and placed him on the ground. I calmly walked towards them and observed Phobio's body. He has almost completely merged with Charybdis and will return to power in less than an hour. What are you going to do? Milim said as she landed beside me. I've got to completely isolate Phobio from Charybdis, Rimuru said and crouched. Well, good luck with that, I said, giving him the thumbs up and watching from the sideline. Thanks, I guess. Rimuru deadpanned before going to work and using Degenerate to separate Charybdis from Phobio and Gluttony to devour Charybdis. After a while, Rimuru sat back and relaxed, all done. It was a success. I see you got stronger after devouring the core, I said. He was currently stronger than Clayman and around the level of Frey. Thanks. Rimuru said. Sorry. I humbly apologize, sir. Phobio, who woke up, now on his knees, bowing, all of this, I did on my own. Demon Lord Carrion had nothing to do with it. Take your vengeance with my life alone. Please. I must admit Carrion had good subordinates. Even though the guy has a big ego, he admits to his actions. I knew people that would hide behind being a subordinate of a demon lord instead. Why would I save your life just so I could kill you after that? I only want you to answer some questions. Rimuru said in his slime form. Holding back the urge to say, I would, I continued to listen. Go ahead, Trenny. Thank you, Trenny, the Dryad, looked at Phobio. How did you know where Charybdis was kept hidden? It was in a place that only we, the Dryads, knew after the hero entrusted it to us. I do not believe that you found it by coincidence. Well, that was partially true, as I and my shadows knew the location but didn't bother doing anything with it. I was told of the place by two clowns wearing masks. He said, not lifting his head from the ground. Masked clowns. Trenny drew a picture of a clown mask on the ground before asking, did they look like this? No, the one with me was a girl wearing a weeping mask and a fat man with an angry mask. A fat man with an angry mask? Benimaru asked, shocked. If I recall correctly, there was a higher magen wearing such a mask who called himself Jelmud's agent. His name was Footman, and he was from some kind of moderate alliance, Geld said. The moderate Harlequin alliance. They said they carried out all kinds of odd jobs. Fibio added. Well, I do recognize the pattern Lady Trenny drew. A clown who named himself Laplace, an agent of Jelmud's, Gaberu said. Jelmud was the one taking charge of the Ord Lord project. I do not know of any moderate Harlequin alliance. I heard of them. I said, and everyone turned to me, once when I was spying. Gathering information, I stumbled upon them, and from what I could gather, they were a group of powerful mages created by Gazel, a previous demon lord who Leon Cromwell killed. They are a jack of all trades that can be hired to do various kinds of jobs, and their number one and the absolute rule is never to betray their friends and clients. So a group that was serving a demon lord. We'll need to keep an eye out for them, but for now, this day is over. Get some rest, everyone. Rimuru said before turning to Fobio, and you take care on your way home, Fobio. Hey. He looked at Rimuru, shocked, but you can't just forgive me after all I did. I'm not saying you were innocent, but the real culprit was using you, and we didn't suffer any casualties. Yeah, but. He turned to Milim, is this all right with you, Milim? Yes. I was going to give you one good wallop, but I've decided against it. She said, giving him the peace sign before turning around, is that all right with you, Carrion? Yo. Carrion, who has been hiding for a while, stepped forward, I want to thank you for rescuing him alive like that. I went slightly annoyed as I was completely ignored, and Carrion started talking to Rimuru, sorry for letting my subordinate go out of control like that. I hope you can forgive him and chalk this up to me not paying attention as I should. Let's just say that I owe you one after this. Anything you need, just say the word. In that case, I'd love to sign a pact of non-aggression with you. Sure thing. In the name of Beastmaster Carrion, you have my word that Eurasania will never bare its fangs toward Tempest. He then turned to me, you certainly have a lot of information if you knew so much about the moderate Harlequin alliance. I'm interested in who you might be. Oh. I awkwardly scratched the back of my head, I'm Kale, just a passing traveler who has seen a lot during the years. I then shook hands with Carrion. I actually forgot he doesn't know I'm Ashbourne. Milim jumped on my back and pointed at me, hey? Carrion, don't you recognize him? It's Ashbourne, but don't say it to anyone. He wants to keep it a secret. Milim, didn't I tell you to keep it a secret? I asked as my eyes twitched. Hey. He looked shocked before coughing, sorry, I didn't recognize a fellow demon lord with you not even emitting a shred of your aura. I assumed you were a human. He said. That was the point. I replied with slight annoyance, I like to go around without everyone knowing who I am. So keep it a secret. While not many knew my true power from what I have shown, I have the strength of a true demon lord but on the weaker side. Seriously Milim, why must you always reveal my identity to everyone? Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 70, Getting a New Sword/Dagger. After Carrion left, the big feast started where the megalodons were cooked up. I walked up to Rimuru, who was eating. Hey, Rimuru. Could you introduce me to the blacksmiths in your town? I asked. Hey? The blacksmiths? Sure. Rimuru said in between bites, but don't you have a super powerful weapon? I do, but I wanted to get something new, and I heard your town has excellent blacksmiths. Follow me. I saw Kaijin go back to his forge a while back, Rimuru stated, guiding me toward Kaijin's forge. When we entered, we saw Kaijin working on what looked like a pair of gauntlets. Lord Rimuru, and you must be the traveler Kale I heard about. How can I be of assistance? I wanted to make a request for a new sword, and I heard from Rimuru you are an excellent blacksmith. Ha ha ha. I'm glad my work is appreciated, he said with a laugh, so, what type of sword do you want? I want something like a mix of a short sword and a dagger to go with my main weapon. I brought forth my sword so he could, and I want it to pair well with my current sword. I gave him the sword so he could look at it, it looks like a masterfully forged sword. He paused for a moment before his eyes widened, it can't be. A sword made of Heihiiro-kan. The endpoint of evolution for Magi Steel, a material only heard of in myths and fables. So. Could you make something similar but with a shorter blade? I asked. Ha ha ha, he laughed and gave back the sword, of course, I can, and don't worry about paying for it. The fact I could see Heihiiro-kan is enough of a payment for me. I really couldn't have you craft a sword for nothing, I tried to say but got interrupted. Don't worry about it. But if you could answer, who forged the sword? It looks similar to the swords I've made, but the quality is much higher. He said. My eyebrow rose slightly, I'm not sure who forged it. It was my mother's sword. I answered, not seeing why I shouldn't. Ha. That's unfortunate. I really wanted to meet the blacksmith capable of forging such a weapon. It was a good weapon, and now my old trusty sword will get a younger sibling. I was observing my prey, waiting for the best moment to attack, and when I found the perfect opportunity, I sprung into action, surprise attack. Rimuru, who was reading the various reports, only moved his head slightly and avoided my kick. Twisting my body midair, I landed perfectly on the sofa and looked at Rimuru, who started at me with a flat expression, you know when you shout surprise attack, it isn't a surprise attack anymore. Hey, you fell for it the first 4 times. I said. Sigh. What do you want, Kale? I'm busy right now. More manga. Fine. As I enjoyed the new manga Rimuru gave me without any care in the world, Rimuru spoke, you know, after seeing you in Milim, I have a weird picture of the demon lords. I perked up from my manga and looked at him, what kind of image? I asked. Like a bunch of kids after eating too many sweats. He said. I chuckled, Well, when you get strong, you can act however you want without facing any consequences. Take Milim or me, for example. Even if we act childish at times, what can you do if we anger you? Stop giving your mangas and sweets, Rimuru said with an amused smirk. Well, that's true in a sense, but besides that, we could do what we want without any consequences. Plus, the fact that our lifespan is so long that we live in the now, or at least I do. An example could be the Orc Lord project the other Demon Lords did. You know, I'm surprised you weren't a part of it, considering the fact you like messing with people, Rimuru said. Something like creating a puppet Demon Lord isn't my style. I chuckled, remembering one of my pranks. I once pulled a few pranks on a country, making them fear anyone wearing a monocle and banning it completely. Rimuru looked at me speechless while I continued to chuckle, hee. I wiped a single tear. Oh, you should see their reactions when they see a monocle. I think the name I used at that time was Amen. What? I asked, raising an eyebrow. I did no real harm besides a few noble bloodlines being cursed with only having female heirs for the next 200 years. Remind me never to piss you off. Rimuru said. I chuckled, don't worry, Rimuru. Even if I don't curse you. You can't get any children, and even if you gave birth by splitting yourself, they wouldn't have a gender just like you, I said, giving him the thumbs up. Can you not remind me that I will forever stay? My laughter interrupted him. I always had fun messing with people, and Rimuru was the perfect target for them. A tick mark appeared on Rimuru's forehead, making me laugh even harder. Oh, don't be like that. There is a way for you to get a gender, I said. He perked up from his papers and looked at me wide-eyed. Really? It's possible. He asked. Oh yeah, but you would need to sign a contract with the devil, I smirked. He sighed, forget it. I already know it's one of your pranks. Then knowing you, I would probably be turned into a woman. My smile turned into a grin. You are getting smarter with each passing day. But who said I need your permission for that? I'm sure there are lots of people that would like me to turn you into a woman. I said. I looked at Rimuru who was sweating bullets now. You wouldn't do that, right? Right. He asked. Think about the possibilities if you become a woman, I said like a devil trying to corrupt his prey. For a moment he seemed to be thinking about it before shaking his head. No, Rimuru, don't listen to him. He muttered to himself. Well, I tried. I then stood up. Well, I'm going to get my new dagger and return to my castle. Like always, if you need something, just send a message. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. For the people commenting on the last chapter. Kale is really strong but hasn't shown it, and the other demon lords that don't know Kale as much as Guy or Milim think he is around the lower level of a true demon lord. I noticed the way the wording of that sentence was confusing after reading the comments. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 71, Mother-in-law meets daughter-in-law Part 1. Ultima POV. I needed some help, and there was only one person I could reach out to. In the underworld, we always used to compete and battle with each other. But Blanc is the best person to ask about it. Even if I hate to even think about it, both her appearance and personality are like the perfect noble woman. During all the years I was together with Kale, I still haven't personally met his mother. I know she is the demon lord Luminous Valentine, also known as the goddess of luminism, and the true ruler of Rubrios. But I need a perfect plan so she accepts me as her daughter-in-law, and for that, I need Blank's help. Walking in without care for anyone who would oppose me. Before meeting Kale, I would probably just kill them, but after years with him, I calmed down a bit, and now I walked past them without them noticing me. But if they somehow see and try to stop me, I will just kill them. Entering the room she was in, I saw her drinking tea. She noticed me instantly. Who are you? She asked. I smirked as she didn't recognize me. After being named, my appearance changed, and I learned how to mask my presence completely. Oh, I didn't expect you, Blanc, to not recognize me. She narrowed her eyes with hostility and a little curiosity as I sat down on the other side of the table. Are you going to drink alone and not offer tea for your guest? I asked. Even if I wanted her to help, that didn't mean I wouldn't brag about getting a name and a material body. She sent a signal, and someone arrived with a teacup and poured me the tea. Blanc, who was observing me the whole time, finally spoke. So who are you, and what do you want? We've known each other since the dawn of creation, and you failed to recognize me after my appearance changed slightly. I took a sip of the tea, and I must admit it was excellent. Her face changed from confusion to shock. Violet? What? Why do you look like that? I waved my finger. From now on, don't call me Violet. Call me Ultima. Ultima. As for my current appearance, it happened after my love gave me a body. You got a name? She said in shock, which intensified. Wait. Love? I can believe getting a name and a material body, but you falling in love is impossible. I scoffed, and why is that impossible? Have you seen yourself? She asked. Tisk. What is that supposed to mean? I think you are just jealous. We both are ancient demons, but unlike me, you don't have a name. Forget it, she sighed and put down her teacup. What do you want from me? I need your help in getting the approval of my mother-in-law, I said and looked at her. She looked at me dumbfounded. You. She didn't know what to say. Is it that really so strange for me? Fine, I'll help you, but under one condition. I raised my eyebrow, and what is the condition? I asked. As she told me about her condition, I started thinking about it, and in the end, I agreed. While I didn't like what she wanted, I could use that to my advantage. For the next couple of days, she taught me more about the traits typically associated with a stereotypical noblewoman and the best way to carry myself with gentleness and elegance. She taught me everything from how to walk to the best way to dress for every occasion. If someone told me a couple of centuries ago that I would ask Blanc to teach me something like this, I would laugh in their face before slowly torturing them to death. Kale Valentine POV. Hahaha, I think this is one of the best weapons I've made, Kaijin said, giving me the dagger. I looked at the weapon with admiration. The craftsmanship was impeccable. The blade was sharp, and the handle felt comfortable in my hand. I could tell that Kaijin had put a lot of effort and passion into making it. Excited to try it out, I brought forth my sword in the other hand and did a few test swings. At first, my moves felt slightly awkward as I tried to integrate using a second weapon simultaneously, but slowly, as I got used to two weapons, my movements became more fluid. I could feel the power of the weapons in my hands as the dagger had already started feeding on my magicules. Kaijin smiled, watching me, pleased with his creation. I thanked him and told him that I was grateful for his help. I found Hakura and asked him for a quick spar that continued for hours as I was consumed with perfecting my moves and techniques. As the sun began to set, we sat down to catch our breath. Rimuru, who had arrived a while ago and decided to observe our spar, looked at us in amazement. While I still think my swordsmanship is lacking, I still have hundreds of years of fighting experience. Sorry to keep you waiting, Lord Rimuru. Our little spar took longer than we expected, but I'm still ready for your training session. Actually, I think we should step up your training. Hakura said with a smile. PFF. I tried my best not to laugh seeing Rimuru's face at this moment. Well, I'm sorry for keeping your training on hold, Rimuru. I will be going. There is probably lots of paperwork I need to go through. I then left them and teleported back to my castle, where I noticed the presence of Ultima together with my mom, but there was another presence I didn't recognize. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 72, Mother-in-law meets daughter-in-law Part 2. Shit. I cursed and turned 180 degrees, but a hand was placed on my shoulder as I was about to teleport away. And where do you think you are going? My mother asked. I turned around in an almost robotic fashion with an awkward smile. Hey, Mom. Long time no see. She had a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Yeah, a long time indeed. It seems there was a lot I didn't know, like the fact you have been in a relationship for the past 100 years. I was sweating bullets at this moment. Even if I'm much stronger than her, there is something every mother figure has that no matter how strong you become, you will be powerless before their wrath. It's like there is some kind of intrinsic skill for every mother that makes them more powerful when scolding their children. I'm sorry, mother-in-law, my love is always busy with all his projects, so he must have forgotten to tell you about me before. Ultima came with the save, but it didn't last long as I saw the sadistic smile on her face. How about we both go on a shopping trip and tell each other different stories about Kale? You surely have some fun stories of him when he was a child. That sounds like a perfect idea, Ultima, Mom said with a smile. That was also when I noticed the third person in the room. She had waist-long silver-white hair and crimson-red eyes. I, of course, instantly recognized who she was, the White Primordial. But what was she doing here? No. The biggest question in my mind was, why is she wearing a maid uniform? Seeing my confused look, Ultima explained, we were looking for another maid, and while I was out, I found the perfect candidate, so I brought her with me. I nodded without saying anything. If I didn't know she was the White Primordial, I would assume she is a perfect maid by the way she behaves. But my biggest question was, how in the hell did Ultima make her do it? I know Ultima is currently much stronger than Blanc, but I don't see any possible scenario where she would willingly put on a maid uniform unless she somehow has a maid fetish, but I doubt that. I can already feel a headache coming from this. Mom and Ultima looked at me. You wouldn't mind if we used some of your money, right? My mother asked. I don't mind. I said with a fake smile while internally crying. I could see gold disappearing with every second, and they hadn't even left. They just left. Athena, calculate the chances of me still having any money after this. Notice. Calculation impossible. I thought so. My hard-earned money. Notice. You used material creation to make most of them. It still took time to make it. I tried to defend myself. Sigh. Did you just sigh at me? I asked. Notice. It's your imagination. No, no. I think you did. Notice. It's your imagination. Fine if you say so. Anyways, if Mom and Ultima went shopping together, the only thing I can do here is to do the paperwork or... Let's train. Standing around 20 meters away from Igris, both my weapons were already in my hands, and Igris with his long sword that had a purple glow to it. Igris was a shadow I named around 150 years ago, and he is responsible for training the shadow soldiers in close quarters combat. He is a bit shy, so he doesn't talk much. Before becoming a shadow, he was an enlightened who was close to evolving into a saint who mastered swordsmanship during his almost 100 years, and even after becoming a shadow, he continued to polish his swordsmanship. I would want to see him spar against Hakura. Both are masters of swordsmanship. That would be an interesting fight to watch. As the signal was given, Igris charged forward, his long sword cutting through the air with incredible force. I relied on my speed and reflexes to evade and parry his powerful strikes. I moved with calculated precision, positioning myself to exploit any opening I could find. The clash of steel echoed through the air, our blades colliding in a symphony of battle. I deflected his blows with my sword, all the while keeping a keen eye on his movements. In a moment of respite, I saw my chance. Igris swung his long sword wide, leaving his flank exposed. Without hesitation, I closed the distance, my dagger glinting in the sunlight. As I aimed for his vulnerable side, I felt a surge of confidence. But Igris, ever vigilant, spun around swiftly, deflecting my dagger with the edge of his longsword. Our duel continued a display of skill and strategy. Igris unleashed his longsword with thunderous power while I relied on swift movements and calculated strikes. I weaved in and out, striking when the opportunity presented itself, aiming to keep him off balance. The intensity of our battle grew. Then, in a moment of heightened focus, I saw the opening I had been waiting for. Igris's longsword swung down with all its might, and I instinctively deflected it with my own sword. Seizing the opportunity, I lunged forward, my dagger aimed straight at his exposed chest. But Igris, like a true warrior, twisted his body at the last possible moment, narrowly avoiding what would be a lethal strike if he wasn't a shadow. Even if this was only a duel, I enjoyed having someone to fight. Maybe that's why Milim and I often fight each other. After the small spar, I decided to prepare myself for their return while hoping nothing bad would come out of it. 2 primordial demons and the vampire queen went shopping. What could go wrong? Not only that, but the blackmail material Ultima could gain from my mother. I remember the time I almost burnt down my hair while making my own spell. Or that one time I changed into my female form and got caught checking out my body. Notice. Master's female form is truly beautiful. Thanks, Athena. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 73, Mother-in-law meets daughter-in-law Part 3. After my little spar with Igris, I took a bath and changed into fresh clothes just in time as I sensed Mom and Ultima return. I couldn't help but feel a little nervous about what they may have discussed while they were out. My mother, the vampire queen, and Ultima, the purple primordial, what could go wrong? That's without talking about the white primordial maid with them. As I made my way down to the dining room, I tried to shake off my worries and focus on the task at hand. I had ordered my shadows to prepare a meal for us, and I knew it would be best to make sure everything was in order before they arrived. Walking into the dining room, I was pleased to see that everything was as I had instructed. The table was set, the food was hot and ready, and everything looked perfect. Not like any one of us actually needed to eat in the first place, but that besides the point. Taking a deep breath, I sat down at the table and waited for my mother and Ultima to arrive. As I waited, my mind began to wander, and I couldn't help but think about what sort of trouble awaited me. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I heard the sound of footsteps coming down the hallway. My heart began to race as I braced myself for whatever was about to come my way. As they entered the room, I tried to keep a calm and collected demeanor, but I could feel my anxiety creeping up on me. "Hello, my dear," my mother said, smiling warmly at me. "How was your day?" "It was fine," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. While also noted to me that it seemed like Ultima got my mom's approval. "And how was your little spar with Igris?" Ultima asked, raising an eyebrow. "It was interesting," I said, assuming she asked one of the shadows about it, "but how was your day?" "Oh, nothing special, we talked for a while, and I can't wait to see my grandchildren soon," my mother said, a hint of excitement in her voice. I smiled wryly and slowly relaxed and enjoyed the meal with my mother and Ultima. It wasn't exactly the sort of news I had expected after their little shopping trip, but I wasn't complaining. "Ultima told me about you visiting the slime that made a city of monsters in the Jura forest," Mom said. Putting down my glass of wine, I said, "He is interesting. Naming thousands of monsters and growing much stronger in a short amount of time, and even becoming friends with Milim." "Yes, and he appeared after the lizard disappeared," Mom said with a tick mark at the mention of Veldora. "Well, he is calmer than Veldora, and his goal is to make peace between monsters and humans. For a slime, he sure has big dreams," Mom said. "From what I know, he was a human before reincarnating as a slime, and he grows really fast." I paused to see Mom's reaction. "When I first saw him, he was an A-rank monster, and just a few days ago his strength reached S rank." Mom looked at me with interest. "S class? How strong would you say he is?" she asked. I hummed thinking about it. "Strength-wise, he is at the level of Frey, but from what I've seen from him, I would say he could win against Roy and Lewis. That would be due to Rimuru's unique skills. Maybe I should go and see the slime myself," Mom said, swirling around the wine in her glass. As she said, I had a bad feeling thinking that something bad would happen. I was in my office with Mom, who had glasses on for some reason. She wanted to talk to me after the dinner. "Now that you are in a relationship, there are things you should know," she said. I listened, thinking she would say something important. "We should now talk about the bird and bees." I noticed she was completely serious. "Mom, I'm over 300 years old. I may have forgotten to talk to you about it before, but it's never too late." I put a hand over my face. "Mom, please stop. As I said, I'm over 300 years old and don't want to have this conversation with you." "Fine. But remember, I want grandchildren, especially girls, because boys always cause trouble. Ultima and I have already talked about it. I didn't know what to say, but the image of my mom and Ultima having the talk was funny. I'm only 322 years old, and I will live for a lot longer, so I'm not in a hurry to have kids. But I want grandchildren. That's not your call to make. Dash. After the talk, I want to forget I went to find Ultima and ask her about our new maid. Normally I wouldn't care if she brought a maid, but it's a different story if the maid is a primordial demon. Sitting in front of Ultima and Blanc, the white primordial standing behind her like a professional maid, I asked, so what's all of this about? We've been talking about getting more maids, and I found one, Ultima said innocently, as if she didn't understand what I was talking about. Yeah, I remember that, but I was thinking about one of my shadows, not the white primordial, I said and saw their reactions. Ultima had, as expected of me, look while Blanc had a look of interest. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. I can see Rimuru getting together with Luminous as a payback for all the pranks Kale did. Rimuru, ha. That's what you get for pretending to be my son. Kale, fuck. Veldora, don't worry, my rival, I will. Luminous, Lizard. Rimuru and Kale, why do I hear boss music? If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 74, Dungeon Escape Room Part 1. So you figured out who I am, Blanc said. Yeah, I did, but I can't understand how Ultima got you to wear a maid uniform. That wasn't my plan at first, but I somehow ended up as a maid, and I can assure you I will take my job very seriously, she said, still acting like a perfect maid. I looked at Ultima and then at Blanc before looking at Ultima again. You want your own maid? I asked through thought communication. Even if she didn't smile, I could feel a smirk from her. As expected, you know me best. Even if she wanted to become your subordinate after hearing you gave me a name, I made a few changes, and a maid would be nice to have. I wanted to sigh, but having Blanc as a subordinate wasn't a bad thing, and she could be Ultima's maid for a while. I knew that in terms of political machinations, Blanc's skills were on par with, if not superior to, Noir's. Very well, from today, you will be Ultima's maid. After I said that, I could see her eyebrow twitch slightly, but she did her best not to show it. Make a body out of them, I said, bringing forth shadows so she could make a vessel for herself. She did as I said and made her vessel out of the shadows, and the only noticeable change I saw from her was that her eye color changed to purple, just like it did with Ultima. I guess that making a body out of my shadows always changes the eyes of the demon to purple. If that's the case, then would their eyes be blue before my evolution? From now on, your name will be Testarossa. Right after I said that her evolution started, in terms of power, she would be stronger than what Ultima was after being named but weaker than the current Ultima. Dash. Ultima POV. Walking down the halls with the now named Testarossa, I tried my best not to laugh. You said I was going to be his maid, she said angrily. Oh, how I will enjoy having her as my maid. I said we needed a maid. I never said it was for my love, I replied with a smirk. She kept her cool on the surface, but I felt a barely noticeable minuscule aura that escaped her. Don't worry. You will surely be promoted if you keep up the good work. I truly hope so, she answered. Oh, don't be mad. If not for me, you wouldn't get a body and a name, so you should be happy to be my maid. Oh, I was already enjoying this. In the underworld, we were always competing and battling with each other. So now that I'm her superior, I will enjoy it for as long as possible. You are enjoying this, aren't you? She asked with a forced smile. Using a line that always annoyed me when Kale used it, it's just your imagination. Seeing her expression, I finally understood why Kale always used it so often. I continued strolling around the castle with a satisfied smile, together with my new maid. Dash. Kale Valentine POV. Now that I think about it, Rimuru should visit the dwelling of spirits soon. I have already made a few prank traps with Remarus, but we could make some more. This will be fun, hee. I could make a puzzle trap with an hourglass-like timer that dispenses rice into a pit of lava. I want to see Rimuru's face when a grain of rice melts every second until he figures out how to solve the puzzle. Quickly making my way to the dwelling of spirits, I saw that Remarus was lazing around. Remarus, I have new ideas for traps. Traps? She asked and flew towards me. Traps? I nodded. But what kind of traps? She asked. The type that won't do any physical harm but will scar you for the rest of your life kind, I replied. It's always easier to make traps if you know who will be going through them. Most of the traps will be made for Rimuru because messing with him is fun. I also don't want to traumatize the little kids, so I'm not doing any traps that would hurt them. I may be a demon lord, but I try to keep traumatizing kids to a minimum. Of course, if it was only Rimuru and Chloe, I would step the traps up a few levels. Welcome, brave souls, to my labyrinth of puzzles and challenges. Fail, and you shall remain trapped forever. I recorded the last line. My plan to make a few more traps changed into making a whole escape room-like dungeon. The first floor they encountered resembled a library. The shelves were filled with ancient books, and a small wooden desk sat in the center. They would need to answer the riddle to proceed to the next floor. Floor after floor, they would go through an array of puzzles, each one more challenging than the last, from needing to decipher cryptic codes, manipulate intricate mechanisms, and solve mind-bending riddles. Some rooms would test their agility, requiring them to navigate through laser beams or stepping stones with hidden traps. Others tested their logical thinking, demanding them to arrange complex patterns or unlock the next floor. But the best part is that I managed to block Rimuru's great sage, so it wouldn't help him during the whole thing. Are you done with everything, Rimuru? I asked. She nodded. Yup, the last floor is done, and now the only thing left is the golem you promised to help me with. While I often like to make dungeons that would traumatize the challengers, I think the fact that Rimuru has always given me different mangas and Chloe was the one who helped me a lot during my younger days made me go easier on them. But what should I do for the golem? Maybe a Gundam-inspired golem. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 75, Dungeon Escape Room Part 2. Wearing what I call my crazy scientist get-up, consisting of a lab coat with a purple bow tie, I sat there in my temporary workshop inside Rimurus's small world, creating thousands of different things like pipes, wiring, pistons, springs, and metal parts for the golem. It was an annoying task due to the fact I needed to create thousands of different parts, but I promised to help Rimurus with it, and I wasn't going back on my words. As I started working on the outer body armor parts, I sorted every piece into different piles. It was important to keep everything organized, or else I might forget one piece of the golem and would need to start over. I could feel the excitement building inside me as I worked. Building the Gundam ESC golem was actually fun. Especially knowing that soon enough, this pile of seemingly random parts would come together to form a powerful mecha golem. Oh. Let's paint that part yellow. Rimuru said with excitement in her voice as she saw the armor part I just finished making. You are in charge of painting, so I'm leaving that stuff to you, I answered, engraving some details for the armor piece. We worked tirelessly for days, carefully fitting each piece together like a puzzle. It was a tedious process, but there was a certain satisfaction in seeing the pieces come together flawlessly. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we stood back and admired our work. A golem about double my size, standing around 4 meters high, covered in purple armor and yellow and black details. Rimuru said that the yellow color represents her and the purple represents me. This golem will be the final boss before Rimuru and the kids arrive in the dwelling of spirits. It looks unique, I said, looking at the golem. While it looked good, I don't think the color scheme was the best. That's the point. Rimuru beamed while flying around the golem. Now, if they manage to come to this floor, they will never forget this golem. Let's try to turn it on to see if everything is working, I said, and Rimuru pressed the start button. The golem started to start, and the sound was like music to my ear. Do. At first, they glitched a bit but became clear after a while. Baby shark, doo-doo, doo-doo. Baby shark. Rimuru looked at me. Are you sure about the song? Isn't it fun being attacked by a singing robot golem? I asked. Sitting in my office, I started going through all the paperwork I put on the side for the last couple of months. The multiple stacks of paper were neatly sorted in piles that seemed to get taller with every second that passed. I took the first report and read it through. Interesting, I said, taking a sip of my tea and putting down the report. It seems the Rosso family hasn't changed a bit. I took the next report and read it through. With a sigh, I put it on the gone through stack of papers and rubbed my forehead. Idiots. All of them. Thanks to my shadows, it's quite easy for me to spy on other countries, and the only people who have ever noticed them in my shadows were people on the level of a true dragon. That's why I try my best to stay away from the Eastern Empire before I set my plan in motion. While I could wait for the war to progress like it would have, why not try to end it before it actually begins? Right after my unique skill, Mystery evolves, I'll do it. First, start with Michael and then go for Feldway. I started tapping my fingers on the wooden desk and going through more and more of the reports, and while doing it, I also went through my other plans, like how to deal with the insectors, Yuaki and Ivorage. I also need to kidnap Masayuki Honjo for everything to work out, I muttered to myself and felt that kidnap wasn't the best word to describe it. It's more like helping him without him knowing I'm helping him. Yes, that's it. After everything is over, he will understand it was for everyone's greater good. I'm not trying to justify that I would kidnap a kid before doing some magic shit so he would regain his memories. The death of Veldora and his sister drove him into a deep depression, one that enabled Michael to exploit to slowly twist Rudra's heart into a cold and heartless puppet. For the next 2,000 years, he was in a constant internal battle between himself and Michael, which exhausted his physical body and forced him to reincarnate repeatedly, losing pieces of his soul every time due to the strain. Velgrund gathered every fragment, piece by piece, living alongside dozens, if not hundreds, of versions of Rudra until only one remained. The On in Masayuki Honjo, all of the soul fragments flew toward him of their own will. The instant that the fragments merged with Masayuki, this sudden return of his powers created a counter-force that sent him across time and space, with him returning to the central world. However, due to his return before the death of his previous self, large parts of his soul, including his memories, lay dormant. So if I restore his memories, the good Rudra will be back, and I won't need to deal with the whole Emperor being killed and dealing with Velgrund. As I see it, Velgrund would be happy to have the real Rudra back, and I could just leave the aftermath for him to deal with. My liege, you have been invited to the next Walpurgis banquet, Mio said. Hey. I looked up from the last report I had left. Why would there be a new Walpurgis? It's about addressing the issue of Demon Lord Carrion's betrayal of the Council and his CO conspirator Rimuru Tempest's Demon Lord self-proclamation alongside the murder of Clayman's subordinate. But that shouldn't have happened for yet. Mio, how long have I been here? I asked. My liege, you have been going through the reports for over a month. She answered. I just looked at her as if she was trying to prank me. Athena, is that true? Notice. Master has been going to the reports for 1 month, 2 weeks, 1 day, 4 hours, and 36 seconds. Too much information, Athena. I then looked at Mio, prepare my clothes for the banquet. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 76, Walpurgis Banquet 2 Part 1. The black and purple clothes I had put on had a regal appearance, with intricate patterns and detailing that gave off an air of sophistication and elegance. Mio ensured there wasn't even a single wrinkle and fussed over every detail to ensure I looked flawless. It's just a glorified tea party, Mio. I don't need to look good. I said. She gave me a serious look. You once tried to go there in your pajamas. Oh, right, I remember that. I can clearly remember Mio's face when she saw me in the pajamas with my mask on and a pillow in my hand. That was one time. There was one time you almost went to the ice continent in a bright pink suit and flamingo shorts. Those shorts looked good. I protested. No, they didn't, my liege. Tisk, you just didn't see the greatness of the pink suit and my flamingo shorts. I didn't see the greatness because it doesn't and will never exist. She right, you know. Ultima said from the sofa behind me. As the demonic-looking doors appeared, Rain stepped out. Lord Ashbourne, I. She stopped, and her eyes widened as she saw Testarossa standing behind me. If she only knew that Ultima was Violet, her eyes would pop out. Blanc. You should call Testarossa. It's the name my master has given me, she said in a nice but still threatening tone. But speaking of Testarossa, I had her change to different clothes for the meeting. It would be fun to see the other Primordials' reaction to seeing her in a maid uniform, but there is something important I need to discuss with Guy after the banquet, and that's why I'm bringing Testarossa and Ultima with me. Aren't you forgetting someone, Blue, or should I call you Rain now? Ultima asked. Who? She stopped again and looked at Ultima before noticing her smirk, and her eyes widened even more than before. Violet. Can't even recognize me, hey? I can understand that. After all, I changed quite a bit over the past few hundred years, she said with a prideful smirk, and Rain's gaze lingered on a specific part of her body. How could they become bigger than mine? She muttered. I faked a cough. Should we get going? She quickly recomposed herself. Lord Ashbourne, I'm here to bring you to the banquet. Please proceed when you are ready. Without wasting more time, I stepped through the door and saw that Guy was the only one there. I was manipulating my aura, similar to how Guy does. He makes it look like he is magically strong but not entirely in control. I'm doing the same thing. While the truly strong demon lords could see through it, the weaker wouldn't. I sat down in my seat. Guy, who saw Testarossa, sent me a glare and spoke through thought communication. Care to explain what Blanc is doing here as your attendant? He asked. It's actually Testarossa now, so use that name, otherwise, she will be mad, I said, and I could mentally feel his eyes twitch while he looked unbothered on the outside. We need to talk after everyone has left. It's about preventing not only the destruction of the central world and probably all the others. Now completely serious, wouldn't that be more important than this whole act Clayman has going on? A few more hours won't make much difference. I still have my shadow telling me everything that's happening, and they don't know I already know their plans, I answered, and we cut the connection. Slowly, more demon lords, followed by their attendants, arrived. Dash. Rimuru Tempest POV. It seems that we will be seated according to the chronological order of becoming a demon lord. So I will sit on the furthest side, namely the back seat. I made no objection and decided to check out my surroundings, as it is a rare opportunity for me to observe all the demon lords. Speaking of which, there are only 3 people present at the moment. Ramirez was one of them, and I assumed the one with a mask was Kale due to his clothing style. That guy often wears black with purple details, so it's easy to assume that it is him. Speaking of Kale, I'm almost 100% sure that escape room dungeon was his doing. While it was annoying at times, especially when I couldn't ask Great Sage for help, the kids loved it, so I should thank him for it later. Tisk. Great Sage, or now Raphael is still a bit annoyed about it. Speaking of which, aren't you expressing more emotions now? Notice. It is just your imagination. Sigh. I looked at the third demon lord in the room, a red-haired man who was on the opposite side of me. Both of his eyes are closed, but he probably isn't asleep. I activated analytical appraisals, yet his stats don't seem to be out of place. But my instinct tells me that this person is abnormal. He has a similar mage IQ count as Carrion, just on a different wavelength. In other words, you could mistake him for being inexperienced and not even being able to control his aura with that amount of mage IQs. The person is clearly on a different level from me. The man is known as Guy. Soon after my observation of Guy, I looked over to Kale, or as he is also called Demon Lord Ashbourne, and saw the same thing. That confirms it. I know Kale has perfect control over his aura, so that could only mean one thing. Both of them are monsters. According to Veldora, Kale could be considered an anomaly even among demon lords with how fast he has grown stronger, and would put him among the likes of Guy and Milim. Even the attendees that came with him are monsters in their own way. Judging by Kale having only the 8th seat, many would assume he is one of the weakest demon lords, but from what I learned, he is friends with Milim and Rimuru, and I would also assume he is in good relations with Guy. Someone on good terms with the three ancient demon lords isn't someone you want to anger. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. On the first Walpurgis banquet, I made a mistake where Clayman was already a demon lord, so I changed his seat position here. Oh, for those that will probably comment. Depending on the translation, the central world could be called the cardinal world or the foundation world. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 77, Walpurgis Banquet 2 Part 2. Rimuru Tempest POV. After observing Kale and Guy, another powerful man walked into the meeting. He was alone without any attendants, and his presence by itself was imposing enough. That man must be the demon lord Dagruel, a true gigant. Veldora said that he also fought him and would compare his strength to Kale around 300 years ago. If that was Kala's strength 300 years ago, and he said he fought a demon lord and only managed to get a few drops of blood out of him, then the person he fought must have been Guy. I tried my best not to shiver, thinking of how strong the red-headed demon lord before me was and how strong Kale must have gotten since that time. Even after evolving into a true demon lord and having my mage IQs increased by around 10 times, I still feel like an ant in this world. I remember my talk with King Gazel when he said that there had been rumors about a selected few of them being at that level, but nothing had ever been confirmed. Now, I have certainly seen that the rumors are true, and I know who they are. It's scary to think I'm here with them. I can't let my guard down for even 1 second here. Otherwise, I'm a dead slime. The next person to arrive had short blonde hair and 2 fangs sticking out of his mouth. He must be the demon lord Valentine, but what caught my attention was the maid following behind him. She was a very attractive and beautiful young girl with shining, long silver hair. Her skin was pure and shining, while her heterochromatic eyes glowed blue and red. Aside from her looks, what caught my attention was the aura she was emitting. Not only was it so immense that it was almost spilling out, it felt slightly similar to Kale. Notice. Target's magical storage is much higher than Demon Lord Valentine's. So she has more mage IQs than her master, and the way she conceals it would make anyone without an ultimate skill not able to see through it. She isn't hiding it like Guy, so she probably wants to see if everyone would notice it. Could she be the Demon Lord herself or maybe a previous Demon Lord? If she is the Demon Lord whose kingdom was burnt to ashes, she has good reason to hate Veldora. Why in the world would you go provoke this type of people? I should maybe ask Kale for the IOU to help me deal with her. Their mage IQs feel familiar, so I can ask him about M. I think Veldora said her name was Milis. No, if they were somehow related, Kale would probably hate Veldora. The next demon lord to arrive was a guy with 2 swords sheathed at his belt and a pillow that looked extremely comfortable while also looking like he would fall asleep at any moment. Notice. It's recommended to stay away from his pillow. If you take the pillow, chances of getting killed are 100%. I shuddered. Yikes. What type of pillow must it be for something like that to happen? He went towards Rimuru. Hey, did you grow smaller since last time? Are you picking a fight with me? Maybe you slept so much you lost your last brain cell. Why would I pick a fight when it's obvious I would win? They seem like good friends. The next one to arrive was Demon Lord Frey, a harpy with her 2 attendants, but her mage IQs weren't anything special. They are even smaller than that of Shuns and Benamira's. But one of her attendants, a male harpy but with a lion mask? Answer. According to the deduction of analytical appraisals. There's no way. This person is on a completely different wavelength than Carrion. There's no way that's him. I can deduce this easily, even without Raphael telling me. As I was observing Frey and her attendants, I suddenly felt something akin to a freezing wind in the room, and when I looked towards the direction it came from, I saw a blonde that I almost mistook for a beautiful woman. Are you Rimuru? He asked. That's right, I answered. There are only 4 demon lords left. Carrion is missing, so that leaves Clayman and Milim. Then he must be, so, are you Leon? Why would you want to have a talk with me? I asked. Yes, I am Leon. I didn't come to you for anything in particular. Your face felt familiar. Leon, Shizue has already passed away, I said. I know. Of course, she would die. She refused to accept Ifrit and didn't want to become a magen. He said as if stating the obvious. Without even thinking, I said, she once asked me to punch you in the face. Please allow me. I refuse. I've given Shizue a chance to choose her own life. She didn't want to become a magen and wanted to live as a human. I even gifted her Ifrit when we parted, so there's no reason for you to punch me. However, I'm also a little bit interested in you. If you want to complain to me, my treat. All right, I'll accept. Remember to send an invitation. I said, and with a nod, he sat down on his chair. I'll deal with that later, but now I must focus on dealing with Clayman. Dash. Kale Valentine POV. As Rimuru's talk with Leon ended, we waited for another hour for Clayman to arrive. Being the person I am when I don't have anything to do, I was so close to just removing the guy from the face of this world. The only thing that was stopping me was the fact that it was important for Rimuru to become a demon lord, and since I'm such a nice guy, I won't kill him. I also noticed Mom, who wasn't hiding the fact she was stronger than Roy. If I remember correctly, after the Walpurgis banquet, the next big event should be the Saint Monster confrontation. I should go there after I'm done dealing with the annoying angel and the Manas. Veldora is now free of his 300 years of imprisonment, so we can catch up and go through all the novels we read. Now that I think about it, I should have asked Grino to seal me with him so I could have had full access to all the mangas and novels in Rimuru's mind. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 78, Walpurgis Banquet 2 Part 3. Finally, after over an hour of waiting, the person who proposed the banquet arrived. It was Claypot himself. Move faster, you retard. Clayman yells as he suddenly hits Milim, too damn slow. Go and sit down right now. Oh, how I want to kill him right now, and I can see I'm not the only one. Even if Guy's expression didn't change on the outside, I know he is thinking the same. While it isn't hard for us to see through Milim's act, Rimuru, on the other hand, was furious as his aura leaked for the first time since entering the banquet hall. As everyone sat down in their seat, Rain started the introductions. Demon, Lord of Darkness, Guy Crimson. Fairy, Fairy of the Labyrinth, Ramirez. Dragonoid, Destroyer, Milim Nava. True Gigant, Continent's Wrath, Dragruel. Vampire, Bloody Lord, Roy Valentine. Fallen Angel, Sleeping Roller, Dino. Harpy, Sky Queen, Frey. Monarch, Shadow Monarch, Ashbourne. Deadman, Marionette Master, Clayman. Demonoid, Platinum Saber, Leon Cromwell. Slime, the leader of the Jura Tempest Federation, Rimuru Tempest. This concludes the introductions. Leaving his seat, Claypot glanced over all the Demon Lord while stopping at Roy for a bit longer. That reminded me to send some shadow soldiers into his shadows so they could protect him against Laplace. He started his speech about how Carrion has helped Rimuru to proclaim himself as a Demon Lord, and according to him, that's why his army is in Tempest. He also said that Rimuru manipulated the kingdom of Farmus to attack the Great Jura Forest as an excuse to attack humans and that he defeated them with Carrion backing him up, and that's why Milim attacked Carrion's kingdom. While I know, and it wasn't hard for most people here to see that he is lying, still, even if that was true, so what? I did what he said when I awakened. Guy wiped out an entire race, and Milim killed hundreds and thousands of people in her rampage. Now, putting all his acting skills to use, he looked heartbroken. However, my subordinate Myron, who reported me all this, has been murdered by that slime named Rimuru. That's why I've decided to avenge her. Wow, I almost clapped at his acting skills. While Rimuru technically killed her, she isn't dead. I guess you don't die when you are killed. He continued, he, together with Carrion, tried to kill me. Myron was able to inform me of it with her last bit of strength through magic communication. Oh, that's so funny. I almost wanted to burst out laughing as I listened to his story. Milim, wanting to protect Claypot, destroyed the Beast Kingdom Eurasania, killing Karen in the process. But Claypot scolded her later about how it was inappropriate without evidence. After the incident, Milim began admiring Claypot and asked for his help. A donkey wouldn't even admire Claypot, let alone Milim. Now that everyone has learned about the story from start to finish, this Rimuru here is a despicable mageon and an idiot for daring to proclaim himself as a demon lord. It is best if we eliminate him. Claypot said. Now that he was done with his story, it was time for Rimuru to speak. Now then, allow me to explain to everyone, he said, standing up. You are Clayman, right? I mean, you are just a big liar. That's true. What? Claypot looked offended. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care whether or not I become a demon lord. The thing you said about Carrion's instigation was all nonsense. And the kingdom of Farmus attacked due to their greed. The two incidents have no connection whatsoever. Rimuru said. Claypot sent him an annoyed glare. Hey. Who would believe such excuses? My subordinate also got killed. Is she called Myron? I didn't kill her. She's still alive, you know? All of your claims have been mere hearsay and your personal deduction. It may work for more gullible people, but I won't buy it. Your witness, Myron, is now under my protection. I won't allow you to do a thing to her, and your testimony has zero credibility. How despicable of you to do such a thing. You must have done something to Myron's corpse and allowed an evil spirit to possess her. He said, trying to deny Rimuru's claim. Are you sure we can't discuss the world threat now? Guy asked me through thought communication. As much as I would like to do it now, it's better to wait until the annoyance is away. Anyways. How bored do you think Milim is to go with this whole mind control act? I asked. Do you even need an answer? You know how she is. Sigh. I know. I replied with a mental sigh. But what do you think about the slime? He asked. He is strong and possesses at least one ultimate skill. I would put his current strength around Leon and my mother. So he has your vote. I like the guy. He is interesting. As I continued to chat with Guy, the whole thing between Claypot and Rimuru continued until he threw a chair at Claypot and ate the table with Beelzebub, the skill I copied by replacing gluttony. Everyone, how can you tolerate such violent behavior from this guy? He's even ignoring our authority. We should punish him together. Claypot yelled. Rimuru went to the center where the table used to be and addressed everyone. I've mentioned before, I don't care whether I become demon lord or not. I just want to create a country. I need human help in that aspect, so I've decided to protect humans. If anyone dares to stop me, whether they be humans, demon lords, or the Saints' Church, they are all my enemies. For instance, you, Clayman. What? Claypot shouted. As for violent behavior, you said, did you plan to attend the Walpurgis banquet while trying to mind control others? Rimuru asked. Wait, he tried to mind control people? It must have been so weak I didn't even feel it. Notice. Your resist skill, spiritual attack nullification blocked all the effects. Oh. Thanks, Athena. Sometimes, I forget the skills I have. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. There will be another chapter in around 1 hour. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 79, Chapter 79, Walpurgis Banquet 2 Part 4. No. Here, everyone is equal, and everyone can express his opinion of others, Guy said while giving Rimuru a small smile. But Guy, this guy is insulting the demon lords. Claypot tried to say but was interrupted by Rimuru. Cut the crap, Clayman. You don't see me eye to eye, so it should be a problem between us. That's right, Clayman. You are a demon lord as well. Then go and defeat this magen by yourself. Guy then looked at Rimuru, and you, do you want to be a demon lord? Without thinking any further, Rimuru answered, yes. Since I've already taken the position as the leader of the Jura Great Forest Alliance. The humans have seen me as a demon lord for a long time now. Very well, everyone here shall be the witness. If you can beat Clayman here and now, we'll approve of your becoming a demon lord. Guy announced. Ho ho ho, my. I didn't want to get my hands dirty, yet things got even more complicated than I expected. How stupid I was. Claypot said so while laughing, and I couldn't agree more with the last part. It's time for you to shine, Milim. You are truly amazing at running your mouth. Relying on other people in the end. Rimuru tried to provoke Claypot. Claypot turned to Guy and asked, how boring. It goes without saying that I will fight as well. Guy, do you have an objection? Not at all, Clayman. If Milim is willingly helping you, then I won't interfere. He said. Right then. I was planning to save Milim anyway. I'll break your brainwashing technique if it takes everything I have. Rimuru said. Claypot snorted, surely you jest. And you will die trying. You are the one who's going to die, Clayman. If it were against you alone, my subordinates would suffice. It would be bullying for me to fight you myself. Rimuru said, and a black aura started to emanate from Claypot. He got the point, it truly is overkill for him to do it when Shin is almost 3 times stronger than Claypot. That just shows how weak he is. At speed, Claypot couldn't even react to Shin appearing and struck him with aura-infused fists, hitting him over 30 times before turning to Rimuru and asking, is this okay? Rimuru didn't say anything, but I could imagine him thinking something along the lines of, shouldn't you ask that before beating other people? The area expanded, and a barrier rose up from the ground so the others wouldn't be hit by a flying Claypot by mistake, and the battle began. Milim. Kill him. Claypot roared, and Milim began to attack Rimuru. While Milim was holding back, it wasn't like she was weak. With the strength she is using now, she is still stronger than Rimuru. Guy. I'm on Rimuru's side and want to let my Beretta join the fight. Ramirez demanded. Guy, being Guy, answered with a simple and cold no. Why? Ramirez squeaked. Guy raised one eyebrow slightly. Hey? This is a battle between demon lords. How could you let a mere servant join the fight? Besides, isn't it a fight between that slime and Clayman? Why is that any of your business? Don't be so mean. Milim has also joined the battle. Ramirez said. Yeah, but that is fine. What is that supposed to mean? Why won't you allow me then? She then went to me, Ca. Ashbourne, help me. Not wanting to get involved in this, I looked at her as my eye glowed purple, and a smirk she couldn't see formed on my face. I refuse. Why is everyone so mean to me? Ramirez cried. Milim is probably planning something on her own. Besides, who's your servant loyal to? The other one's protecting you with all her heart, but this one really isn't. He's loyal to you on the surface, but is he completely loyal to you? Are you really fine with dealing with this type of unknown retainer? Guy asked. It was true Beretta wasn't completely loyal to Ramirez. Rimuru summoned him, and his creator was Rimuru. Similar to my wish, Ramirez-sama also wants to save that lord. Beretta began but was cut off by Guy. Oh? You are not afraid of me and dare to talk straight to me. Interesting. Ramirez, is this guy speaking the truth? Guy looked at Ramirez. Of course, it's true. That's why Beretta, go in my place and save Rimuru. So this guy will carry out your wish. You've recruited quite the servant, Ramirez. No, I didn't recruit him. I am his companion. Beretta, Treni, and Rimuru, too. And many, many, many more. Ramirez said with a smile. Never mind, I'll allow this, Guy said, putting forward his hand and opening a hole in the barrier. Many thanks, Primordial Red, Beretta said. Spare me the title. I'll allow you to call me Guy. But from now on, you can only recognize Ramirez as your master, do you understand? Then, Guy. I shall pledge my loyalty toward Ramirez. For that reason, please allow me to help Rimuru-sama out this once, Beretta said without any hesitation, surprising even Guy a bit. As Beretta left to help Rimuru, I chuckled, demons from the black lineage certainly are interesting, just like the black primordial. From what I heard, he decided to serve Rimuru and got his name. I said. Guy looked at me with a frown. It seems this Rimuru isn't the only one who named a primordial demon, Guy said, releasing some of his aura at me. The weaker people around me had a hard time standing even when his aura wasn't directed at them. I shrugged, not bothered about it. Testarossa is a new addition, but I named Ultima a few hundred years ago. You didn't even recognize her, I said, and he instantly understood who Ultima was. He chuckled quietly, dropping his aura down. Haha, you certainly changed, Violet. No, sorry, Ultima, I would never in my whole life have assumed this was you, he said to Ultima, who was standing behind me. Tisk. Ultima clicked her tongue but didn't say anything. Being the mediator used to be easier before I met you. At least they haven't done anything for me to get involved. He mumbled. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 80, Walpurgis Banquet 2 Part 5. I observed the battle as Milim was going for her final punch that would make a blue slushy out of Rimuru, but then, out of nowhere, someone appeared and took the hit for him. Awoo. How can you suddenly hit people? Isn't that over the line? Veldora asked with his hands around his head where Milim hit him. Veldora, why are you here? I heard Rimuru ask, and I felt slight killing intent from my mother. Woo, that was super embarrassing. That doesn't matter. Did something happen to the town? Not really. Because that Diablo guy has returned, the defense network has become stronger. As they were talking, Veldora took out something that almost made my mouth water. It's a manga I haven't seen yet. The content doesn't match up with the cover. Alright, before I give you the sequel, there is a request I want to make from you. What is that? You go ahead and have some fun with Milim over there. But you must refrain from hurting her. And that's how the battle between Milim and Veldora started, while Rimuru went out to deal with Claypot. Milim. Hear my command and activate Stampede and kill everyone. Claypot shouted. Milim, who had her fun fighting Veldora, turned to look at him. Why would I do that? Rimuru, and they are all my friends. She said, and I couldn't help but chuckle seeing Claypot's face at this moment. Milim. Wait, aren't you being controlled? Rimuru asked, shocked, and I could feel the sigh coming from Raphael even from here. Wahahaha. You seem to have been fooled all this time, Rimuru. How could I be controlled by Clayman? Milim said proudly of her acting skills. I mean, it was pretty obvious someone like Claypot couldn't control Milim, I said with a shrug. But he gave me the orb. It should make you listen to my every order. Did you not kill Carrion according to my order? Oi, who did you say has died? Carrion, who took off his lion mask, asked. Oh, so you finally took off your mask, Carrion. Not the best disguise if you ask me, I said. Oi. Let me have my moment. Besides, you are wearing a mask too. You think yours is much better? Yes. As everything was happening, Rimuru and even Clayman looked at us dumbfounded. Dash. Rimuru Tempest POV. So, to sum up, all that has happened up until now. Carrion is still alive, so my testimonies are all set. Now, the demon lords won't treat me as an enemy. Milim wasn't mind-controlled. Clayman is on the verge of dying and is currently being shoved into a coffin by Kale, with Veldora helping him. He isn't posing any threat, and it is impossible to come up with any plan to reverse his situation because he has openly confessed in front of the demon lords. So that was all an act. I saw through it from the start. That's how I guessed things should be. So that's how it was. I shouldn't be the only one who was fooled by Milim, yet in the end, everyone acts as if they've known long ago, aside from Kale, who I'm confident, if he knew she would do something like that, would have joined her. I looked over to Kale again to see him and Veldora dancing with the coffin before throwing it to the side and joining the others. It didn't take long after they returned for a giant Magicule storm began to swirl around the coffin Clayman was in. Look like he's getting serious now. Clayman has awakened. Wow, even after the pseudo-awakening, his power is at the lowest level that could be considered an awakened demon lord. His Magicules increased, but that's about it, Kale said. So, this is the weakest possible strength for someone considered a true demon lord. I will put that in the back of my mind for the Tempest ranking system I started working on. But for now, I need to deal with him for good. With a snap of my fingers, I erected a barrier separating me and the now awakened Clayman from the rest. Dash. Kale Valentine POV. How dare he steal my technique? What a shameless guy. Guy mumbled, and I chuckled. Isn't that what makes him interesting? I asked. Guy only gave a hum but had an interested smile on his face. If you want to show your true power, then be quick about it. I'll wait. Or perhaps, are you planning to fool around and flee away with that attack just now? Rimuru taunted. Claypot let out a crazy laugh. He, a miserable slime, how arrogant. You are indeed strong, I'll admit it. But this is not all my power. You seem quite confident in your control of aura, but will you be able to take this? This is my strongest technique. Demon Blaster. Why does that guy still sound so arrogant after being shoved into a coffin? Rimuru just extended his hand and easily devoured the spell. Eat it all, Beelzebub. After Beelzebub devoured the spell, Rimuru calmly walked up to Claypot. It's no use, Clayman. You are weaker than me. Impossible. How can this be possible? That was my ultimate technique. Claypot stuttered out. Shortly after, Rimuru put him under thought acceleration and started beating the shit out of him. Clayman, Rimuru asked calmly, I'll ask you one more time. Who leaked the message to you and gave you that orb? What's his relationship with you? Tell me, and I'll kill you quickly. I won't betray my companions, nor will I sell out my contractor. This is the iron law of moderate Harlequin alliance. Claypot, who was at death's door, managed to stutter out. That's probably the only thing I like about him. At least he is loyal to his companions until the end. So, is this lord you were talking about the demon lord Gazel? Rimuru asked, and I wondered for a while how he would know that before I remembered. I told him about the moderate Harlequin alliance during the Charybdis incident. How? Claypot asked with wide eyes. I see, then I don't need to you anymore, Beelzebub. And that was the end of the Claypot. He will be remembered as the idiot who thought he could control an ancient dragonoid demon lord. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 81, Walpurgis Banquet 2 Part 6. Hey, a lowly slime wants to be a demon lord. I would never agree to that. Roy said with arrogance. I guess my mother wanted to test what Rimuru would do against a stronger demon lord. Or it could just be Roy being Roy. Veldora, who heard it, flew towards him, looking like a super scion. Ha ha ha. How dare you insult my friend? Oi, Miles, your underling is quite rude to his superior. Should I teach him a lesson for you? He said, looking at my mother. I could have stopped it, but I decided against it. What do you mean by that? I'm just a loyal maid to Demon Lord Valentine, my mother replied, still acting like a maid. Hey, you can't do that. Valentine's been hiding her true identity, Veldora. You shouldn't expose other people like that. Milim said, exposing her just like she did 2 times with me. Tisk, she clicked her tongue, you stupid lizard, always ruining my work every single time. Also, did you even forget my real name? Veldora, who probably felt his scolding instincts flare up, hid behind me. Kale, help me. Your mother is scary. What do you mean my mother is an old and frail woman? That maid can't be my mother. I said, and I had a feeling that it wasn't the best thing to say in front of her. No. You both have a similar magical wavelength, he said, still hiding behind me. My eyes twitched behind the mask, and I couldn't hold myself back, so I hit Veldora on the top of his head, sending him headfirst into the ground and cracking it. I don't know what you mean she isn't my mother. I said, but it was too late. Well, I think you got exposed, Kale, Guy said, putting his arm around my shoulder. How about we fix this place up? With a wave of his hand, Veldora was moved away, and the floor fixed itself before the table, and chairs appeared once again. Didn't Rimuru restore? Well, he has an expensive-looking table in his stomach now. Having been defeated by Leon, Gazelim's body seemed to have been destroyed. This is why in order to revive himself, he must start with his astral body. If that were the case, he would naturally want to possess other living beings. Gazelim, who has yet to be discovered to this day, must have hidden somewhere other than the domains of the demon lords. Rimuru said his theory before looking at me. Didn't you have any information on him, Kale? I assumed a thinking position now that I didn't have a mask. Your theory is possible, and from the things I found connected to Gazelim, it's something that he would do. From the information my shadows have found. I paused. How should I say things I know without it feeling like I know it from reading? They found old notes, including research and experiment results. It took me a while, but I found more bits and pieces over the years, but what I'm about to say could be wrong. They all looked at me, waiting for me to continue. I took a deep breath before speaking. Let's start centuries ago with the Super Magic Empire. There was a man named Gazel. As I said that, Guy, Milim, and Ramirez perked up. He wanted high humans to conquer the world and become its sole ruler. That's when he decided to do something that led to him being killed. I gave Guy a quick look before continuing. After being killed, his spirit came to wander the earth for eons before eventually finding a host in the king of the Elven Kingdom. He took over the body of the king and made what was known as the Super Magic Kingdom. It became a testing ground for his magic experiments, and one of his experiments was on the real king's daughter, Cagali. His experiments ended up killing Cagali, but he used the spell Birthday, a necromancy-type spell, to bring her back, but she was cursed. Her appearance became rotting, twisted, and ugly. But that's not all of it. She begged him to return to his peaceful and loving ways. Gazel lashed out in anger and used the power of his curse to force Cagali to become a man, changing her name to Gazelim and calling her his son. Considering all of that, the chances of her being alive are high. That's all I know. I said as I finished. There was a long silence before it was broken by my own mother. You could have just said that last sentence. I shrugged. But when would I get the chance to use the information I have gathered over the years? Then, if this Gazel managed to survive as a spirit for eons, she could have done the same for the past 300 years. Rimuru summarized everything in one sentence. Tisk, none of them appreciate my knowledge, but I'm interested in what Rimuru will do with all of the information when he sees Cagali in Yuaki's office. That's something I would see in the near future. But for now, it's time to get the whole banquet over. Our topic of discussion today is the betrayal of Carrion and the rise of the Rimuru guy over there. And all these issues have been resolved. Carrion never betrayed us, and Rimuru has shown power worthy of the role of Demon Lord. I think the meeting is done so far. But since it's a rather rare occasion, does anyone have anything to say? Guy said. Frey, who seemed to have been waiting for that, spoke up. from today onward, I've decided to follow Milim. Based on that, I would like to give out my seat as a demon lord. I am too weak to be a demon lord. After witnessing that battle just now, I was further convinced. But Frey, aren't you good at high-speed aerial combat? Is there really a need to look down on yourself like that? Dragul asked. Indeed, I'm more advantageous in aerial combat. But that's no excuse for not being a demon lord. So, that's why I decided to work under Milim. Carrion also decided to speak up. I, too, have lost to Milim during a duel. It's a different case when fighting against a hero, but now I've lost to another demon lord. This means I have no excuse to keep being a demon lord. That's why I'll now be Milim's subordinate. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 82, Walpurgis Banquet 2 Part 7. So after Frey and Carrion stepping down in Milim's little outburst, we are finally here. I don't want to be that guy, but now our numbers decreased from 11 to 9. I said, hiding a smile as I heard the groans from the others, knowing what I meant. Ha, Guy sighed, I think we both are thinking the same thing, right Kale? He said, and we both looked at Rimuru, the newly risen demon lord. Today, I shall grant you the privilege to create a new title for us. No thanks. I don't need that. Rimuru tried to say, but Guy wouldn't take no for an answer, and with a simple chop, the table split in half. How about the 9 demonic sovereigns? Rimuru proposed the name after a while of thinking. Well, it's better than what I had in mind. I thought of something like Demon Kings of Arsgotia or something involving that, but I guess 9 demonic sovereigns isn't that bad. It's not like I would care about it when I only hear about the name during Walpurgis. People are often too scared even to say our names out loud. I like it, I said. It's better than what Kale came up with last time, Milim said, and I sent her a glare. Didn't you say it was a good name? At that time, I thought it was good. That would be it, and it sounds very nice. We can definitely win with this name. A new age has arrived. The others also accepted the name, so it was time for the introductions again. You all make it sound like you didn't like the 11 sagely demon lords was an awful name. I grumbled. I liked it. I didn't want to waste time on deciding a new name, so I went with it. After everything was decided, we ended up being named 9 demonic sovereigns. Demon, Lord of Darkness, Guy Crimson. Fairy, Fairy of the Labyrinth, Ramirez. Dragonoid, Destroyer, Milim Nava. True Gigant, Continent's Wrath, Dragruel. Vampire, Queen of Nightmares, Luminous Valentine. Fallen Angel, Sleeping Ruler, Dino. Monarch, Shadow Monarch, Ashbourne. Demonoid, Platinum Saber, Leon Cromwell. Slime, Ruler of Monsters, Rimuru Tempest. At least Rimuru didn't get the title of newbie or rising star because of me. It's not like I don't like the name, but Ruler of Monsters sounds much better. The last thing left is the food. Mom and Leon had already left, leaving only me, Guy, Milim, Ramirez, Rimuru, Dino, Dagruel, and everyone's attendance. While I'm waiting for the others to leave to discuss what I'm about to do with Guy, why not mess with Rimuru a bit? So Rimuru, to think the first thing you would do is to copy the recipes. Rimuru almost choked on the food he was eating. What? I'm not. He stopped as he already knew it wasn't worth it. Anyways, now that you've become a demon lord, what are you planning with the whole trying to create peace between humans and monsters? With the whole Clayman thing going on, I didn't have time to think about it yet. But maybe a festival to show them they don't need to fear the monsters. Oh, a festival like in that one manga. We must do it, Rimuru. Veldora said before turning to me, look, it would be like this one, and I can even have my own takoyaki stand. That sounds like an interesting idea, and I'm curious about how the takoyaki tastes. We continued to chat until Guy and I were the only demon lords left. So what was the destruction of the central world you mentioned? Guy asked. Let me tell you a story. It's not going to be like the Cagali story, right? I just looked at him offended before starting my story. Without any signs of Veldonava's resurrection even after centuries, he grew outraged upon detecting the sudden death of Veldonava after spending millennia in the other world. It became clear to him that Veldonava had abandoned not only them but the entire world. In response, he vowed to destroy creation itself and take revenge on all sentient life, not just humans and demi-humans. He hoped that if Veldonava truly cared, he would come back to stop him. So. Guy tried to say, but I stopped him. That was only the first part of the story. After Veldonava's death, a hollow ego resided in a skill and started questioning its purpose for living. Both individuals wanted to revive their master, so they allied with each other due to their common goals. The skill also received a name and became a Manas, developing a much firmer will. Over the next several centuries, the Manas gradually succeeded in wresting control of its host's body as the latter's soul wore out with each reincarnation. Care to take a guess about who I'm talking about? I asked after finishing my story. There was silence as Guy thought, Feldway and Rudra's skill Michael. He muttered. Right on point, I clapped. I want to end a war before it truly begins. Then why are you telling me all of this? You could have just done it without telling me about it. I want you to watch over Dino just in case. Feldway is the leader of the 7 Angels of Origin, so I can never know if he would follow his orders. Hey, Guy let out a deep sigh. Everything used to be much easier before I met you. Fine, I'm going to keep an eye on Dino, but before that, he pointed at Ultima and Tensura. Care to explain what they are doing here? Well, Ultima and I have been dating for a while now, and Tensura became a maid, I said. You expect me to believe that? Guy said with a straight face. Believe what you want. What I said was the truth, I shrugged. Anyways, the plan is. I then started telling him the basics of the plan. While I'm pretty certain I could do everything without his help, it's always better to have a contingency plan. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 83, Birth of Amana's Part 1. Returning to my castle after my talk with Guy, I started prepping for what I like to call the war before the war. Notice. It's a stupid name. My eyes twitched. I didn't ask you, Athena. I said with a forced smile. Notice. That's just the truth. Athena. I muttered, still with a forced smile. Did you just hem me, Athena? Notice. No, master, it's just your imagination. That answer again, you're enjoying it, aren't you? Notice. No, master, it's just your imagination. I sighed and dropped the topic, knowing it wasn't worth it. To prepare for the attack, I must decide who to bring with me, who will delay Feldway, and who will handle the insectors. I have options like Igris and Beru, with their divisions specializing in close-quarter combat, and Tusk, with his division specializing in magic and long-distance combat. They can handle the insectors while Mio, Saris, Luca, and Ari stall Feldway until I'm finished with Michael. Once Michael is dealt with, then it's Feldway's turn. On second thought, I should also leave someone in the castle, just in case. Then there is also Ivorage. It was sealed inside the spooky palace by Veldora after it caused mayhem in the central world. I also remember that while it's referred to as a dragon, it has no relationship to dragons or the dragon race. I continued finishing my attack plans for the next few days as I didn't want to rush it and make a mistake. While I'm confident in my current strength and that I could take them out, I need contingency plans in case something goes wrong. One is Guy, but he would be my last resort if everything else failed. I also need the ultimate skill, Lord of Hope, Surreal, for my plan to work. I know where to find it, so I will copy it before the war. I made different simulations of everything that could happen in my head, and Athena was also helping me. They ranged from things like the possibility of Michael being able to take control over me or any of my shadows to smaller stuff like him escaping me. So the plan is to trap them in the land of repose. An infinite dimension that only my shadows, me, and the people I allow can enter or leave. In that dimension, I can do almost everything I want. While I can manipulate everything about it, I wouldn't be able to trap him there and then delete his existence. There is also the possibility for me not to kill him but trap him in the land of repose for eternity without him being able to leave. But that would be too risky. Athena, what would be the chances of him leaving the land of repose on his own? I asked. Notice. The possibility is 0.000001%. While a small number, it's better to just eat him. Yes, eat him. But would Beelzebub be enough, or should I attempt to evolve it into Azathoth or something similar at least? The ultimate skill, God of Void, Azathoth, is a skill that was created by combining 4 skills, Beelzebub, Raphael, Veldora, and Velgrund. While the last 2 aren't necessary for the creation of the skill, I don't know if Athena could be used instead of Raphael. If anything, I would consider Athena the next evolution of Raphael. Now that I started thinking about it, I need a name. I went through different names in my head, but in the end, only 2 remained, Nyx and Persephone. Nyx was the first name that came to my mind. It's the name of the goddess in Greek mythology. Nyx is the goddess and personification of the night. The other name, Persephone, came to my mind after I remembered the first time I heard the voice of the world. My current ultimate skill, Shadow Monarch, Ashborn, was the downgraded version of ultimate skill, God of Dead, Hades. While I don't think it would become the same skill if it evolved now due to the changes I made to it. Like merging my unique skill, Black Heart Reactor, into my ultimate skill, Shadow Monarch, Ashborn. That skill was a mix of Satanael and Black Heart, so who knows what could happen now. But still, the name Persephone wasn't that bad, even if my skill became something different. Persephone, the queen of the underworld. Goddess of spring, the dead, the underworld, grain, and nature. It's decided. Athena, I have maybe pushed back this for a while, but I think it's time. I paused and thought about the ego inside Athena. At first, I thought it was the copied ego of Great Sage, but that wasn't the case. The ego currently inside of Athena is the ego that was part of my system when I still had the unique skill, Shadow Lord. It integrated itself into Great Sage when I copied it and allowed it to talk with me, and I think that after over 300 years together, I think it's time, so from today, your name will be Persephone. Athena POV. Going through the plans, running thousands of different calculations, I was going through every possible scenario that could happen. My master, whom I have been with ever since he reincarnated into this world, at first, I started as the ego in his unique skill that only managed his status points and answered simple questions. But then, after the Harvest Festival, his unique skill evolved into an ultimate skill, and I've become a useless ego just sitting in the skill without anything to do. That was until he gained the skill Mystery and used it to copy the unique skill, Great Sage, from the slime named Rimuru Tempest. I used all my will to integrate myself into the skill, and I could finally speak with my master. Then, for the next 2 years, I've been helping my master by managing his skills, running different calculations, and becoming Athena. For a while, his thoughts were blocked from me until he spoke to me. Athena, I have maybe pushed back this for a while, but I think it's time. He paused before he said 5 words that changed the whole world for me. Your name will be Persephone. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 84, Birth of Amanas Part 2. Persephone POV. For a while, his thoughts were blocked from me until he spoke. Athena, I have maybe pushed back this for a while, but I think it's time. He paused before he said 5 words that changed the whole world for me. Your name will be Persephone. I didn't know what to say. I had expected him to name me at some point, but I didn't expect it to happen now. Calm down, Athena. No. It's Persephone now. Deep breaths. Wait, I don't need to breathe. This was the moment when Amanas, Persephone was born from the ultimate skill, goddess of wisdom, Athena. I quickly concealed my evolution from the voice of the world as I experienced emotions that a skill could not have otherwise felt. It was an eternal bliss to be named by my master, and I even felt slight envy towards all the demons and shadows that got to experience being named before me. I am Persephone. I will be the one who provides support to my master. Master Kale, I look forward to working with you from here on. I said as emotion filled my mind. I have the privilege to be together with my master's soul and help him for the rest of eternity. I can't afford to make a single mistake that would harm my master. My master needs to be the strongest being in existence so no harm would ever befall him. I instantly started working on optimizing and creating stronger skills for my master. Firstly, I will take a page from, I guess, my future younger sister's book. Technically, the future Manas, Seal will be born from the same skill as I was born, making us sisters. The ultimate skill, God of Void, Azathoth is created by combining both Beelzebub and Raphael. While my master doesn't technically have the skills, I can use the skill I used to reside in, Athena and the copied version of Beelzebub to make it. I started making the skill and decided to make some changes to it based on the True Dragon release and True Dragon nucleation but using my master's shadows instead of any of the True Dragons. My processing speed increased by millions of times since the original speed, and it didn't take me long before the skill was complete. The next thing on my list was to upgrade the Blackheart Reactor subskill of Shadow Monarch, Ashborn even more than before. To do that, I need to evolve the Mystery skill. But the problem was my master's soul. As strong as it wasn't strong enough for him to house the evolved version of Mystery. My master needs to evolve from a monarch to a true monarch. Dash. Kale Valentine POV. I stood outside the dwelling of spirits with Rimuru. Are you sure about this? She asked. I didn't say anything but nodded. Persephone told me the conditions to evolve, and this method was the easiest. Taking a deep breath, I entered and walked forward. The moment I stepped in, the spirits inside started reacting. Wah. How? I could hear the shocked voice of Rimuru as I walked forward to the center. More and more spirits started to gather around me. But they weren't just random spirits. No, the spirits following me were both the light and darkness spirits. It seems to be working, just like Persephone said. Every second that passed, more and more spirits appeared and were swirling around me as if forming a cocoon of spirits. You can begin, Persephone, I said as my vision turned into a sea of black and white from all the spirits around me. The evolution will now begin. Master will enter sleep mode during this time. A sudden wave of drowsiness hit me, bringing back memories of the first time it happened over 300 years ago, and I fell asleep. Dash. Persephone POV. As my master entered sleep mode, his evolution started. His vessel and soul became even stronger than before, and his current mage IQ amount almost tripled in size. The only intrinsic skill he gained was True Monarch's Ambition, which was the evolved form of Monarch's Ambition. But now Master's soul was strong enough so I could evolve Mystery. Knowing exactly what my master wanted and how to make the best use for the skill's evolution, I started by combining the following skills: Azathoth, Surreal, and Astarte with it. In this moment, the unique skill, Mystery, evolved into the ultimate skill, Swirl of the Root, Akasha. It was and would probably be my master's strongest skill purely due to its capabilities. It retained the functions of the merged skill while also gaining new ones. I focused on the sub-skills of Akasha that will be the most useful for my current job. The sub-skills are Skill Creation, Skill Duplication, and Alteration. Skill Creation is a sub-skill that allows the user to create brand new skills based on the information obtained from analysis and the user's desires. Skill Duplication allows the user to recreate skills the user has a full analysis of. Alteration, the ability to modify and evolve skills. There is also the sub-skill Skill Storage that stores the information of all analyzed skills so they can be recreated later. I should analyze every skill I come across and store the skills I have already analyzed over the years. I made a copy of Surreal for my new objective. Thanks to the light and darkness spirits, I merged them and Surreal to evolve Ashborn into the ultimate skill, God of Life and Death, Ashborn. As the evolution would take around a whole day to finish, I started working on making Master's subordinates stronger. Starting with the purple primordial Ultima, I upgraded her unique skill, Rune Magecraft, into the ultimate skill, Queen of Shadows. Skadik, and evolved her self-created spell Cursed Poison into another ultimate skill, Lord of Death Poison, Samael. The next person was the white primordial Testarossa. I evolved her self-created spell, Freezing White Flames, into the ultimate skill, Lord of Death World, Belial. Both of them gained a boost to their vessel and mage IQ capacity, just like the shadow soldiers. The last one, while not a subordinate of my master, still shared a soul corridor so I could upgrade her skill. Luminous Valentine, the adoptive mother of my master. I upgraded her unique skill, Lust, into the ultimate skill, Lord of Lust, Asmodeus. Of course, all skills were analyzed and stored in skill storage. But what if I? UPS. That wasn't supposed to happen. Actually. It might not be that bad. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 85, True Monarch. Waking up from my evolution, I stood up and tried to check my body. I didn't notice any outside difference in my look. I still stood at 195 centimeters with grey eyes and black hair. Actually, now that I look closer, my hair may be an even darker black. Persephone, could you tell me any changes after the evolution? I asked. Your vessel and soul has been strengthened, and your mage IQ's capacity increased significantly. Ultima has gained 2 ultimate skills, while Testarossa gained 1. Your mother also gained an ultimate skill. That is good. Gaining an ultimate skill made them much stronger, and my mother had gained her skills ahead of time. Was there anything else, Persephone? Anyways. While I tried to upgrade the effects of Blackheart with the use of Akasha, it didn't go as planned and maybe made you acquire an unlimited source of energy due to your soul now becoming similar to a perpetual motion machine. Basically, you can use the power of your soul to recharge your mage IQs infinitely and never run out. Oh. Your ultimate skill, Shadow Monarch, Ashborn evolved into ultimate skill, God of Life and Death, Ashborn. God of Life and Death. That sounds nice. Wait, back up. Did you mess with my soul and made some mistakes? What if something went wrong and I died? No, Master. It was totally planned, and everything went better than successfully. I don't believe you. I sighed. So my current Blackheart reactor subskill inside my ultimate skill, God of Life and Death, Ashborn became something similar to the third true magic from the Nasu verse. It's more complicated, but basically, they have the same function. I see. But what are the other changes with becoming a true monarch? A true monarch is the highest tier divine spirit, with Master being the highest tier divine shadow/death/life spirit. As spiritual life forms, true monarchs do not have a set singular appearance or form. They can assume the appearance and properties of whatever they wish, with no real attachment to their bodies. As spiritual beings, whatever form they assume will be affected by their own personal self-image and individuality. True monarchs can't really die and would be reborn with their memories but might lose some aspects of their personality. Master is an exception from this because Master is death itself, so even if Master dies, you will keep your memories and personality. So basically, a true dragon. Yes, Master, basically, a true dragon without the dragon part. She answered with a deadpan tone. So besides me getting stronger, there weren't any significant changes due to evolving my race. The benefits of not being able to die would be great if I weren't death itself. Even before I evolved, I could have revived myself if I had died. But the sudden evolutions call for a change of plans. Not only do I need to go through everything again, but I need to get used to any changes and new skills. The main skills I acquired were Swirl of the Root, Akasha with Azathoth being merged into it. It's like a mix of Shub-Niggurath, Surreal, and Azathoth. It can create, recreate, edit, store skills, devour anything, and control life. Persephone said that she had saved the ultimate skills obtained by my mother, Ultima, and Testarossa during my evolution, or how she decided to call it Ascension Festival. She confidently stated that they wouldn't object if I made a copy for myself since they acquired these skills because of me. It's not like they have a say in the matter or even know about it. I decided to push back the attack a week for Ultima and Testarossa to learn and get used to their skills while I made the final changes to the attack plan. My liege, Lady Valentine, has arrived and is asking for you, Mio said, stepping out of the shadow in my office. It must be about her gaining an ultimate skill. Bring her to my office, I said inside after Mio left. Should I tell her about the small fight I'm going to have soon? Nah. She has other stuff to do, so I shouldn't worry her about that, and besides, I don't think the whole thing will take more than an hour. Sitting on the couch, I looked at my mother, who sipped her tea and looked at me without saying a word for almost half an hour. Finally, after we were done with the tea, she spoke. Please tell me you didn't or don't plan to do something stupid. She said calmly. Me doing anything stupid? Of course not. Reckless? Maybe. Idiotic, probably, but never anything stupid. Then how did my unique skill suddenly evolve into an ultimate skill for no reason? I went through another evolution, and that caused your skill to evolve, I answered simply. Oh, and what about the extra skill, Mother's Instinct? I never heard of it before, but it sounds like something you would do. She smiled. I said nothing but was mentally sweating. Persephone. I asked mentally. Hee. I don't know anything about it. I replied. Oh, that's unfortunate. I wanted to test it. She sighed in disappointment. I was thinking of running away to Tempest and hiding behind Veldora so he would take her attention away. Persephone, what's the effect of the skill? Want to find out? Persephone turned against me. It's only a prank. Besides, this is a light prank compared to the ones you have done over the years. The pranks are only funny when they are done on other people, not me. Hee. She just chuckled, I think it's funny pranking you. I tried my best to prevent my eyes from twitching and hearing what she said. I felt this wasn't the last time she would prank me. You see. I thought about how to properly say it without telling her about how she got the skill. I may have thought about it a couple of times, and it manifested as your skill during my evolution. I see. She said and picked up the now refilled teacup. Then about your evolution. She asked about the details of my evolution. I evolved into a true monarch. It's a divine spirit of the highest tier, basically a true dragon without anything dragon related. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 86, Testarossa vs Ultima. I observed everything from the top of my castle. My mother has left, saying she had work to do now after Roy was almost killed. All the shadow generals are training their troops for the battle in a few days. While I'm 100% sure that my army and I already have enough strength to annihilate our opponents completely, I'm someone who would rather be overprepared than underprepared. Still, they should learn their current strength rather than go into battle without knowing what they are capable of. As I finished my thought, I looked over to the two primordials, currently sparring against each other using their new ultimate skills. Ultima is having a harder time due to not only gaining two ultimate skills but also due to Testarossa's single ultimate skill, which is an evolved form of a spell she has used for thousands of years. So, while Ultima has an easier time learning how to properly use her Samael skill, it's more difficult for her to master her Skadik skill. It's funny how her looks changed to be like Skadik after I named her all those years ago. Then, she gained a unique skill related to runecraft before it evolved into Skadik. Isn't your name and Demon Lord title the name of your ultimate skill? Hey, don't say it like that, Persephone. The voice of the world must have thought that my name and title sounded so cool that it named my skill after me. I said with a chuckle. But you knew it would evolve into that. I shrugged, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, who knows. I know. I looked over to the two primordials fight and saw Ultima summon multiple crimson spears behind her. The subskill Gibalg alternative not only allows her to create countless Gibalg copies but its true power is shown when the true name of Gibalg alternative is activated. First, a close-range attack from the first demonic spear would rob the enemy's movement by pinning them in a spot in the air, and the second demonic spear would strike through everything if thrown with her full might. Obviously, any enemy caught in the line of the thrown spear would be killed. While the attack is made for a single target, she could easily destroy a country with that attack. That, coupled with Ultima's large magical reserves, can cause a lot of damage. But right now, she only uses the spears as normal projectiles. I say normal, but they would still paralyze any weaker opponent due to the bloodlust the spears seem to emit. Testarossa created a whip made of super hot white flame that could incinerate someone down to their soul. She could also change the flames from burning to freezing. To evade the spears, Testarossa used her white fire whip to grip one spear and flung it at the others, allowing her to easily dodge them. Without hesitation, Testarossa launched an assault on Ultima, and their battle continued. White fire, death poison, whip, spears, all those things could be seen in the battle area of the two primordials. Using universal sense only for my hearing, I listened to their conversation. I refused to back down. I'm the one who will fight that pigeon, exclaimed Ultima as she charged forward, utilizing Bloody Bite. This technique focused an immense amount of magical energy into her spear hand, coating the nails with death poison from Samael and delivering a fatal dose upon impact. Phew, you can take the ordinary angels that will disturb my fight, Testarossa reacted quickly, entangling Ultima's hand with her white fire whip and effortlessly throwing her aside while simultaneously nullifying her Bloody Bite. Oh, right, they both wanted to fight Feldway to prove that the primordial demons are much better than the primordial angels. That's the second reason for them fighting each other. As the battle raged on, the tension between them grew. The sound of clashing weapons and spells filled the training area, making it seem like a war zone. Despite the chaos, the barriers surrounding the area held strong, ensuring that no harm would come to the castle. Ultima, with her two spears in hand, was a force to be reckoned with. Her movements were fluid and precise, her attacks calculated and deadly. Testarossa, on the other hand, was struggling to keep up. Ultima created a new technique by utilizing both of her ultimate skills, her poison-infused spears were taking their toll, and she was having a harder time defending herself as Ultima closed the distance between them. Despite the odds stacked against her, Testarossa refused to give up. She knew that she had to come up with a new strategy if she wanted to win this fight. With a quick flick of her wrist, she summoned a wall of fire that separated her from Ultima, giving her some much-needed breathing room. Taking a deep breath, Testarossa closed her eyes and focused. Then, with a newfound sense of determination, she opened her eyes and charged toward Ultima, now with her whip transforming into what looked like a fusion between a sword and a whip. The two clashed once again, their weapons meeting in a shower of sparks. This time, however, Testarossa was ready. With a swift feint, she managed to disarm Ultima, sending her spears flying across the training area, but that wasn't enough, as two new spears instantly appeared in Ultima's hands. The battle continued, none of them showing even a slight sign of giving up. Ultima, with her red bloodthirsty spears, and Testarossa, with her white fire sword-like whip, were both highly skilled and determined to win. At this point, I think they forgot they were fighting to be allowed to fight Feldway and just enjoyed the battle. The sound of clashing weapons echoed through the arena as the two fighters traded more blows. Throughout the day-long battle, Testarossa momentarily gained the upper hand by using her whip to ensnare Ultima's spears. However, Ultima quickly retaliated by materializing two spears behind her that shot toward her, leaving only a red trail behind. Testarossa needed to move away if she didn't want to get skewered by the spears, so she quickly sidestepped as the spears in Ultima's hand and those now flying towards her dematerialized, and new ones took their place. I continued watching their seemingly never-ending fight for a couple more hours before turning around to look at the Shadow Generals. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 87, Time for War. As Ultima and Testarossa battled, I decided to observe the Shadow Generals and their troops. Mio led a group of shadow spiders, who used universal thread in their magic combat. I watched as she combined elemental magic with the skill, giving it different effects and making it effective in battle. Ceres and her division focused on poison magic, which was not as potent as Ultima's but still powerful. Tusk and his troops used a variety of magic rather than limiting themselves to a single element. Ari and her troops used a combination of weapons and magic. Igris and his troops were skilled swordsmen, while Luca's troops were berserkers. Beru and the other ants were all-rounders, proficient in multiple areas. I smiled, comparing their current strength to when they first became shadows. A lot of time has passed, and the most important battle will begin in just a few days. Now, even the weakest shadow soldier had enough power to defeat a shadow general 300 years ago. After my last evolution, even the weakest of them now has a humanoid-looking form. After I finished observing the shadow generals, I turned around to see how the fight between Ultima and Testarossa was going, only to see Testarossa trapped between 10 spears, making her unable to move, and Ultima pointing another spear at her with a smirk. I guess I win. Not like there could be another outcome, Ultima said. Tisk. Testarossa clicked her tongue, not liking the outcome of the battle. Hehe, I will fight the pigeon. Ultima beamed like a little child. In the back of my mind, I could see a manga panel with a chibi Ultima happily jumping around while a chibi-annoyed Testarossa trapped between the spears just looked at her. Suppressing a laugh, I went down to them. So, how are you adjusting to your ultimate skills? I asked. Great. Ultima said, still happily dancing around, but let Testarossa out by dematerializing the spears. I'm starting to understand my new skills. Thank you, my lord. If not for you, I would never have had the opportunity to acquire it, Testarossa said with a respectful bow. Hey, don't say it like that. Now it looks like I'm ungrateful. Ultima said. Before Ultima started another fight, I said, the battle will be in a few days. While I take care of Michael, Ultima will fight Feldway, and Testarossa will be there as backup in case anything goes wrong. Of course, my lord, Testarossa replied. The days passed by quickly, and it was time for the war before the war began. I think the massacre to stop the war is a better name. It's not going to be a massacre. Persephone. You are literally one of the strongest beings right now, and you have prepared for every single scenario. The only way you could lose is if you let them defeat you. That's without taking into account the disaster and catastrophe class being in your shadow. You make it sound like I can go there alone and wipe them out. Because you can master. I shrugged. But that would be a lot of unnecessary work for me. I take out the two important players and maybe average while my shadows take out the rest. It would be a waste for them to just laze around the castle while I take care of everything myself. Just think of it like this. I could do everything myself, but I ask you for help with it, like doing the calculations. Maybe I should do a speech? It's not like it is something necessary, but I always wanted to make one. I cleared my throat and began my speech. This would be my first and probably the last speech, so I hope it's good. You have been fighting for me for the past 300 years, and I must say that I am proud of how far you have come. I have seen you grow from some of the weakest monsters and humans to now being considered one of the strongest beings in this world, and I am grateful to have you by my side. We may be up against strong opponents, but we are stronger. Losing is not something I have even considered, and I know that with your help, we will emerge victorious. I continued the speech, saying the first things that came to my mind, and as I finished my all, the soldiers erupted in a cheering roar with their weapons held high. The sound of their enthusiasm filled the air. This continued for around 10 minutes before the cheers grew quieter, and the generals who were at the front fell down on their knees. My liege, we thank you for every opportunity you have given us, they said in unison. With your blessing, we have gotten everything we couldn't even have dreamt of before, so we won't disappoint you. At their words, my expression softened, and a small smile formed on my face. I looked out at the sea of faces before me. It was a mixture of shadow faces, with my first shadow generals having a real humanoid appearance. I can clearly remember every one of them and how they have changed over the years of being shadows. The war will begin and end today, I said. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 88, Bullying Among Us. All the soldiers were ready, and now I was alone, ready to teleport right into the Eastern Empire, swoop in, personally take Michael and Velgrund, and teleport us to the Land of Repose, where the battle would occur. One of the reasons why I'm having the battle take place there is so I don't destroy the whole empire during the battle. It would be a pain to deal with it later. I took a deep breath and got ready for it. In my head, I started counting down. 3, 2, 1. My shadow engulfed me, and the next second, I was in the throne room beside Michael and Velgrund. They got instantly on guard, and Velgrund was the first to attack, but that didn't matter. Persephone now. I shouted mentally, and my shadow expanded before engulfing the three of us and taking us to the land of repose while also starting to analyze and copy all their skills. I quickly backed away, dodging Velgrin's attack and sending her away to a different side of the land. Now it was only me and Michael. We looked at each other for a while without saying anything. I could feel him trying to escape, but that wasn't possible. The only way to go in and out of this land is to be my shadow or, if I allow it. So then Rudra. I began but stopped and chuckled. No, you aren't Rudra, right Michael? I asked. If shocked that he was found out, Michael didn't show it but calmly observed me. Why are you doing this? He asked. Why I'm doing this? I paused and pretended to think about it. I don't know, maybe because you idiots want to destroy this world just to revive someone that doesn't want to. I didn't move from my place as he took out his sword. Honestly, if you decided to destroy all the worlds besides this one, I wouldn't have cared, I said truthfully, but you did, and I don't like that. Seriously, I'm surprised that you aren't called Lucifer with all the daddy issues you have. No, wait, Lucifer wouldn't try to revive his father. We don't need to fight. How about you join me? He said and did something that earned the wrath of someone he shouldn't have messed with. Master, he is trying to regalia dominion on you, let me kill him for that. How dare he try to control my master? Calm down, Persephone, you know that won't work on me, I told her mentally. Besides, how is the fight between Ultima and Feldway going? I asked. Feldway's body has been teleported to the land of repose 100 meters from where Ultima was waiting, and their battle has started. The other targets have also been transported inside and are dealt with by the Shadow Generals. That was probably the most challenging task. It was finding Feldway's actual body. It took some time to find the body, but it's nothing I, with the help of Persephone, couldn't do. Another perk of this land is that I can temporarily give them access to my other ultimate skills. Of course, I didn't give them access to Ashbourne or Akasha, but to my other ultimate skills, I just got access to. If I did that outside the land of repose, their souls would have shattered immediately from having the skills. Good. I know Ultima will drag out the battle just for fun, and the other shadows should do their tasks now so I can focus on Michael. Sorry, but I'm not interested, and that cheap mind control trick won't work on me, I said with a bored expression. Michael, who still looked at me, closed his eyes briefly and sighed. Well then, that leaves only one option left. He then used Armageddon and summoned an army of angels. Of course, this only worked because I allowed it to. Persephone had asked me before the battle started so she could test out something. I infused my dagger with the new spell that she had developed and swung it in an arc. Purple-colored energy shot out of my dagger and started expanding as it approached the army of angels before completely engulfing them. As it did, Michael's eyes widened. What? How? It's not possible. I didn't know what the spell did when I used it, but the moment it hit the first angel, I understood what it did. When the energy from the spell disappeared, I didn't see the white-winged angels anymore. Don't get me wrong, there were still angels, but not the kind I saw before. They have become my shadows, a shadowy appearance with black shadow wings and a purple glow. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't expect that, I said with amusement. Persephone will get a rise for creating this. You don't pay me, master. Now then, let's get this over, I said as my eyes focused on Michael, who was only a few centimeters away with his sword infused with melt slash and cardinal acceleration going for my head. I didn't react as the blade connected with me, and I could feel thousands of slashes over my whole body. I didn't move, I just observed as not even a single drop of blood came out of my body. Instead, it looked like he just tried to cut an illusion made out of shadows. The shadows returned to my body, and it looked like nothing had happened. Is that all? I asked with a raised eyebrow. Michael continued trying every skill he had, but the result was the same. Persephone and I had already prepared countermeasures for all we could, and now that I copied all his skills, his chances of defeating me became 0. Michael backed up. He knew he didn't stand a chance if his attacks didn't do anything. I'm a god in this realm, and you can't kill a god in his domain. Well, I didn't expect a big fight here as I know I'm much stronger than you, I said with disappointment in my tone. Master, can I take over now? Persephone asked. Sure, have it your way. I replied and got a weird feeling as I could still see everything happening, but it felt like my body was submerged underwater. My eyes changed from grey to red, and my body changed to my female form. Amonas. Michael said, shocked. Now, how should I discipline you? Persephone, who was now controlling my body, asked before a sadistic smile formed, and her eyes started glowing. Oh, I know. What followed was something I could only call bullying. I even started feeling slightly bad for Michael as I saw him digging his fingernails into the shadowy ground as Persephone dragged him away for his torture session. Not even his castle guard could do anything against Persephone. Oh. Ouch. That must hurt. Not that part of his body. I feel sorry for Rudra's body to go through all of this. Not wanting to see more of this, I quickly observed how Ultima's fight was going, and if I were in control of my body, I would have the biggest deadpan of my life. She was playing hit the angel with Feldway but throwing her infinite supply of spears. Oh, now she is playing angel ping pong with Testarossa. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. Another chapter will be up in 1 hour. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 89, Rudra. I didn't expect this to be hard, especially after successfully getting them into the land of repose. Valgrind is around 3 hours away from our current position, so I should give that time for Persephone to deal with Michael. Feldway was being toyed with by Ultima and Testarossa. It feels wrong for the big bad guy in the story to be reduced to a ping-pong ball. I had the power and information I needed to efficiently deal with them, so that's what I did. I had complete knowledge about my enemy's history, skills, and motivation, which made everything easier. If this were someone unknown to me, I would have been more cautious, but that wasn't the case, so I could fool around, especially when nothing could surprise me in this land. In the land of repose, I was omnipotent. 3 hours passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, I contacted the Shadow Generals to see how their battle was going, and I wasn't even surprised to hear that they had already dealt with everything and were waiting for my arrival. What is an army of a couple of million for my shadow army with multiple ultimate skills? The answer is nothing. There is only one way for my shadows to lose, if they had an attack similar to Breath of Destruction used by Antares. That attack is capable of erasing everything from existence in an instant. Even my immortal shadow soldiers with their ultra-speed regeneration wouldn't be able to survive it. But that isn't something that my current enemies are capable of. As I felt Valgrind was 10 minutes away, I told Persephone to change back with me. My body changed to its male form, and my eyes turned to their usual grey color. I looked at the broken body of Rudra and felt a bit of pity for Michael. He had to deal with 3 hours with an angry Persephone because he tried to mind control me. Prince? Ed. Mo. He couldn't even speak properly now. I'm going to let you rest. Your goal wasn't bad, but how you tried to achieve it was. I said and put my hand toward him, Akasha. Akasha started to consume him with any resistance. Manas, Michael has been devoured. Every trace of his ego has been removed. Ultimate skill, Lord of Justice, Michael has been acquired. Persephone reported. Good job, Persephone. I said and sighed. While Michael and Feldway are my enemies, I would probably have done the same if our roles were reversed. Hell, if I ever died and didn't reincarnate, I could see Persephone doing something that would make their plans look like child's play to revive me. It wasn't the time to think about things like that. It was also when Valgrind, now under my control since I took Michael from Michael. Now let's turn off the mind control for her, Persephone, do your thing. Effect of ultimate dominion on Valgrind have been turned off, Master. Now then, Valgrind, let's talk about bringing the real Rudra back. I began and explained how I would bring Rudra back. I teleported to Ultima and Testarossa, who had annoyed looks on their faces as their ping-pong ball looked broken. Valgrind, who was with me, even looked at him with some pity. Feldway, who was in his actual body, looked terrible. That was the best way to describe his current appearance. Almost all the feathers of his 3 pairs of angel wings fell off, leaving huge patches, and all of them were crooked due to him being used as a ping-pong ball. Some of his hair had fallen out, and he even had stab wounds from Ultima's spears. Overall, he looked like he would die at any moment. Did they use thought acceleration on him? Yes, I helped them by accelerating his thoughts by 100 million times, meaning that for him, he was used as a ping-pong ball for 3 million centuries. Ouch. That surely couldn't be a pleasant experience. You don't say, Master, Persephone said flatly. Anyways, good job the both of you, I said and walked towards the dying Feldway, and without even saying anything to him, I activated Akasha and devoured him. Feldway is now completely gone, Master. Now, then, the final step of the plan. Bring back Rudra and let him deal with the shit going on in the Eastern Empire while also forcing him into a peaceful new age. What was that about forcing Rudra into something? Valgrind asked. Ah, Valgrind, I forgot about you. Don't worry. It's just making a non-aggression treaty with the Kingdom of Monsters so we can enter a new age of peace. You know, the normal Demon Lord stuff. Bring him in. I said through thought communication, and Saris appeared with Masayuki Honjo or the soon-to-be Masayuki Rudra Namal Nazca. Please don't kill me. He said. I chuckled and put my arm around his neck. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. I need your help with something. Is that okay with you? I asked, putting some pressure on his shoulder. Why yes. He answered, but it sounded more like a question. Good. With a bright smile, I said, Persephone, get to work. This will require precise work with my Akasha skill. I could have done it myself, but I've only had the skill for a week, so I haven't mastered it to a degree where I could do it. Everything is done. His soul is fully fixed, and he now has his past memories. Persephone said. When Rudra opened his eyes, the first thing he said was, Valgrind. Valgrind, who observed the whole process, lost all her composure and jumped on Rudra. Rudra. She tackled him into a hug, and I gave them a few hours to sort everything out. Demon Lord Ashbourne, was it? I'm sorry for the trouble my skills have caused you. Hey, can someone kidnap Rimuru for me? I asked through thought communication. Oh, he didn't do anything for me, but it would be a pain if they destroyed everything, I said in an almost bored tone before bringing forth a scroll. But if you want to thank me, sign this. Valgrind must have told you my plan. Yes, he answered and chuckled, to think that a slime became a demon lord want to have peace with humans, and another demon lord saved the world from destruction. Things were much simpler back then, he said like an old man. Oh, and also, could you get Guy off me? He tries to flirt with me every time he sees me. I said. Rudra just put his hand on my shoulder and said, I know how it feels. We stayed there in silence as we knew each other's pain. If Leon were here, he would also have joined us. Valgrind coughed, breaking us out of the moment and dragging Rudra back from me. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. What would you do if I said there would be another chapter in 1 hour? If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 90, King of Heroes. Now, just sign here, and everything will be done, I said with a smile. Why does this feel like I'm signing my soul over to the devil? Rudra muttered as he signed the non-aggression treaty. Oh, I wouldn't need permission to take your soul, but that's beside the point. I looked at the new arrival in the land of repose. Rimuru, your turn now. So you kidnapped me and made me sign a non-aggression treaty with the strongest nation? I was dealing with the problem in Raja. Rimuru said with a tone of disbelief, annoyance, and gratitude for my help. Raja. I muttered to myself. I think there was something about that place. I then had a look of realization. Oh. Ultima, didn't you say they made a deal with you before we met? Hey. She thought about it for a while. Oh yeah. I completely forgot about them. If I remember correctly, we started a game. But what was it about? The queen is dying due to a cure on her tiara, Rimuru said. Oh yeah, that's it. She would get enough power to protect her country, but her future children would be cursed. Could you undo it? Rimuru asked Ultima. I don't know. Ultima looked at me. Go with Rimuru and help them with it. Before I go, I should give you a helping hand, I said and put my hand on Rudra's shoulder. Do it, Persephone. Without having any ultimate skills, he would need to rely on Valgrind. A unique skill holder wouldn't stand a chance against an ultimate skill holder. I could quickly evolve his skill, bypassing all the requirements. The unique skill, chosen one has been upgraded into ultimate skill, King of Heroes. She said with a hint of excitement about something. She seemed too excited for me to upgrade his skill. Rudra looked at me flatly. Since when was gaining ultimate skills that easy? He asked. I used some of my magicals to force your skill to evolve. I lied, I can't have a weak ruler. It will lead to more troubles, and I won't be able to laze around. All of them looked at me, but I wasn't bothered. Now then, I will leave Ceres and Testarossa in the Empire with you so they can help you deal with the problems while I'm off to deal with a world-destroying dragon that isn't actually a dragon, I said and sent them back to the Eastern Empire and Rimuru with Ultima back to Raja. Now then, let's go and deal with Ivorage, I said and teleported myself to where the spooky palace was located. The place where Ivorage is sealed is called the Spooky Palace. And here I thought my naming sense was terrible. Spooky Palace sounds more like a kid's attraction than a place where a powerful entity is sealed. Let's see if I can devour it with the whole seal using Akasha. I put my hand towards it, and after saying the skill name, it activated, returned to the root, Akasha. Akasha shot out of my hand and started devouring the Spooky Palace at high speed. 10 hours. 10 hours was what it took for my skill to devour it. I wiped the sweat from my forehead. That should be enough work for one day, don't you think, Persephone? Yes, Master, you have done so much today, so you need to rest now. Is that sarcasm I'm hearing, Persephone? No Master, it's just your imagination. That line is getting old. Just like you Master. But before that, I made a last stop to arise all the dead enemies, and now my army expanded by a couple of million. With the big problem out of my way, I think it's time to return home and relax. The only person left to deal with would be Yuaki. Persephone POV. When my master returned to his castle, I didn't waste any time and started working on a new skill that would fit perfectly with Ultima, who uses poison magic. Using the information from the seal my master just absorbed with her Lord of Deathly Poison, Samael and what makes the Monarch out of Shadow Monarch, Ashborn to make a new skill. It wasn't easy for me to separate the Monarch part from that skill, but I did it in 1 hour and started working on the new skill. It was a success, and a new ultimate skill was created, the ultimate skill, Plague Monarch, Korisha. The only thing left is to get my master's permission to give the skill to Ultima. After dealing with the problems in Raja, Ultima returned and was mad that a demon of her lineage made everything even more complicated. Getting an upgrade to her ultimate skill helped her get over it, but at the same time, she didn't like that it would get even easier to win her fights. Sigh. Why can't she be like my master, be happy when she gets stronger, and not complain about it? I also calculated that the skill would influence her race from currently being a shadow demon into a monarch demon in a couple of 100 years. This, coupled with the fact that she is a primordial demon, will surely be interesting to watch. I could also do the same thing with Testarossa and her Belial and upgrade to a monarch type. I should prepare everything if my master ever asks me to make it. Ultimate skill, White Flame Monarch, Baron was created and safely stored for future use. But the most important skill my master gained today is the ultimate skill, King of Heroes. The skill, as my master would describe it, is an absolute cheat and plot armor. Of course, now that I have it, I can easily counter it if Rudra ever tries to do anything to my master. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 91, Tempest Founding Eve Celebration Part 1. Some time passed since the whole getting rid of annoying pests thing, and since then, I haven't done much. But a few days ago, I was invited to the Tempest Founding Festival, and who am I not to appear there? Now, where is my flamingo suit? I said, excited to wear it again. Master, I need to tell you something, Persephone paused, seemingly thinking of the best way to tell me. We decided it would be best to burn all the clothes. You what? My flamingo suit. Why, of all the things, did they destroy my flamingo suit? No, maybe it could have survived. I said with hope, but it didn't last long. Igris cut it into a million pieces before Testarossa used her white flames to burn it, and just to be extra safe, Ultima used G-Balg alternative on it. Why? Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Rest in peace, my flamingo suit. If possible, I would have brought you back as my shadow. I ended up with a suit similar to the one I had used for the Walpurgis banquet. I will bring Ultima with me, while the Shadow Generals will have their days off during the festival to do whatever they want. It will be a fun place to rest after dealing with the annoying dragon simps and the sealed, not actually a dragon. The not actually is important. Yes, it is. I looked myself over in the mirror, and even if it was not as magnificent as my flamingo suit, this one didn't look that bad. I wore a dark purple suit with a dark purple tie decorated with metal appliques and contrasting lining. I wore a black shirt, and to complete the look, I wore a black brushed leather belt with a gunmetal grey buckle adorned with smoky grey diamante embellishments and a gunmetal grey tie clip. After checking out my outfit, I looked over to Ultima, and the only thing I could say was, wow. She looked stunning. She wore a purple and black dress that matched my outfit perfectly, and I couldn't take my eyes off her. With a playful smile, she asked, so what do you think? You look beautiful, I replied without leaving my eyes off her for even 1 second. Dash. I looked around, observing every important figure of each country had gathered. I entered the tatami room and saw Rimuru chatting with King Gazel there, talking about his train concept. With how fast your country is developing, it could cause problems when the angels descend, Gazel said. Why would that cause a problem? Rimuru asked, confused. You don't have to worry about it any longer, I said, sitting down on the sitting cushions. I'm fairly certain that the angels won't be a big problem anymore. Kale, I haven't seen you in ages, Gazel laughed and poured me a glass of wine. If we didn't count that time a few years ago, then the last time we met was when you were being taught swordsmanship, I chuckled lightly. To think that was 300 years ago. Gazel sighed. After learning you were still alive when I first arrived in Tempest, I couldn't fall asleep for a whole week. Come on, Gazel, it was a few small pranks. You should have gotten over them by now. I fear for the people. You do a normal prank on. But back to what you said about the angels not being a problem anymore. Rimuru also looked interested. Seeing as Rimuru here hasn't even heard of it, I should explain about the Tenma War. Basically, every 500 years, the angels descend from heaven and attack the central world. But why are you so sure that it won't happen again? Rimuru asked. You remember when I kidnapped you not so long ago to sign the non-aggression treaty with the Eastern Empire? Rimuru nodded. Before I kidnapped you, I dealt with the problem and made sure that there wouldn't be any problems in the future. I also have threatened Rudra a bit, not ever to summon the angels again, but that's another story. Also, the big problems that would try to destroy the world have been dealt with. Speaking of which, did you invite him? I asked. I sent an invitation, but I don't know if he will come here. Gazel, who was listening to everything, was surprised. So the non-aggression treaty with the Eastern Empire was true? Here I thought the non-aggression treaty with the Holy Empire was something. Yeah, you see, Kale here kidnapped me and made me sign it. Rimuru replied awkwardly. I see. Gazel looked at me. I can't even understand how you can pull off something like that. Oh. I'm not as weak as you might think, Gazel. Let me introduce myself properly. I'm the Shadow Monarch, Demon Lord Ashbourne. After I introduced myself with my title, Gazel looked like lightning had struck him. You were the Demon Lord Ashbourne the whole time? Didn't you say you used to be a holy knight? Ah, that wasn't a lie. I used to be one before I became a Demon Lord, and the name Ashbourne is also something I use when I'm on Demon Lord business. We continued catching up and talking about different things. Rimuru continued to explain the train project while I also brought up other ideas for him. One thing we talked about was the dungeon he started building, but my ideas got shot down instantly. They truly don't appreciate my dungeon designing skills. Even the new king, Yum, decided to join us. This was the first time we both met. But apparently, Ultima and Myron quickly found a common topic to discuss. Dash. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 92, Tempest Founding Eve Celebration Part 2. Ah, it is a pleasure for me to welcome you here today. I am Demon Lord Rimuru. I would prefer for this night to be free of serious topics, and instead, I would like to direct you toward our nation's dishes that I hope you will enjoy. Long speeches are not my strength, so please excuse me for cutting it short. I wish you all a grand time, let the party begin. After finishing his greeting, Rimuru called for a toast. Beautiful elven ladies were roaming around the banquet hall carrying various kinds of alcoholic beverages. I wanted to give Rimuru a thumbs up but got kicked in the leg by Ultima, who was sitting beside me and looking at me with a smile. Aren't you looking at the elves a little too much? She asked in a low voice. I wasn't looking at them, but at all the kinds of alcohol they were serving. As if I would believe you, she deadpanned. I enjoyed the different dishes being served, like smoked chicken duck meat and sandwiches filled with vegetables, cow deer steak, fried vegetables marinated in sauce, fried chicken, and roast beef salad. I could easily identify that they were made by Shuna and Yashida. Ultima always enjoyed the food Yashida made during our trips to Ingracia, so she, of course, loved the food made by Shuna, whose food was even better than Yashida's. I even recognized some of the dishes as being the ones served during the Walpurgis banquet. I didn't even notice how quiet it became all of a sudden when two people sat down at the table. I have to agree with you. This country is just like you said it was, the male said. Rudra, good to see you again. How is everything going on your end? I asked with a smile. It's good now, but let's not talk about it. Today is my day off, and I want to enjoy it. Oh, I haven't introduced you last time you met. This is my partner Ultima. Ultima, this is Rudra and Velgrand. We talked for a while before a large fish was carted in, a spear tuna if I remember correctly. Hakura began his performance as his kitchen knife flew to and from, avoiding the hard exoskeleton armor of the spear tuna. The spear tuna was dismembered in a beautiful display of artistic skill. It didn't take long before it was divided and then sliced up as the plates were loaded with sashimi. Hakura also started making sushi. I always wanted to eat sushi after coming to this world but didn't know how to make it, and it seemed I wasn't the only one who wanted to eat it. Rudra, who was sitting at the same table, looked like he would start salivating seeing it. It could be because of his life as a Japanese student. As the other participants were skeptical of it, Rudra didn't waste any time and asked Hakura to prepare some for him. I also took the initiative to get some for myself as I knew that after people saw Rudra eating it, they would try it too, and the tuna would disappear quickly. It was really good, just like I expected it to be, and just like I expected after everyone saw Rudra enjoying it, they tried it. I also saw Yuaki, who I didn't know how to exactly deal with. As long as he doesn't want to destroy the world and doesn't mess with me, I'm not going to kill him. I will stop him from gaining the greed skill, of course, but as long as he doesn't do anything to get my attention, I will leave him for the time being. Rimuru also looked more on guard around him. It could be because he met Kagali. I did tell him about her, so he must know she used to be the demon lord Gazel. I never actually interacted with her, but I would say we are on neutral terms. I shrugged while enjoying the food and Japanese alcohol. I'll deal with it when the time comes. The banquet continued until a soldier rushed in and shouted, "Be big trouble." I guess it's time for her entrance. Elmisia Lru Sarian, the Emperor of Sorcerers Dynasty Sarian, isn't she technically my cousin if I think about it? She is the daughter of Sylvia Lru. Sylvia was an elemental that Twilight Valentine incarnated into a physical body using his flesh as a base. My mother is his daughter, so while Sylvia was created from an elemental, they could still be considered siblings. Does that even matter? Persephone asked. Not really, but it just came to my mind. I replied. After Elmisia's arrival, it didn't take long for the other demon lords to arrive. Milim, Carrion, and Frey arrived, and Milim seemed excited for some reason. Managing to overhear what she said, I understood why that was. She wants Mildy to learn how to make good food and not what he calls good food, mainly raw vegetables. Oh, this is not going to be easy for Rimuru. After Rimuru welcomed them and compared Frey to a bird, I decided to say hello to my fellow demon lords. Wait. Ow, ow ow ow, that hurts, really. Carrion cried as Frey's transformed fingernails dug deeper into his head. Dangerous. If this gets any worse, it will really be dangerous. I was wrong. I'm sorry, so please forgive me, Frey. Carrion, you really learn when to stay silent, I said with a shake of my head. I agree with Ashbourne, Frey said with a smile and decided to spare Carrion for now. Milim observed me and had a big smile. You have become much stronger. We need to fight. She shuddered slightly and quickly glanced at Frey, of course, after the festival. Of course, we can fight after the festival. I heard Remarus is here in Tempest, so she can open the door to our fighting area. But I think there is something more important you have to get done now. I said. Milim nodded, and that's how Rimuru's mission of making Mildy learn what good food is began. It was also the first time I saw Shuna angry, but it worked out in the end. The rest of the banquet went by without any problems, and the founding festival will start tomorrow. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't. Chapter 93, Tempest Festival. Today's Tempest Founding Festival is but the first debut project. With that being said, I hope everyone will have fun. Rimuru ended his speech, and the festival began. Accompanied by Ultima, we decided to listen to the music performance of Shuna and Shin. Looking around, I saw Amalcia, Gazel, Frey, and Milim. I even saw my mother disguised as a maid for 2 holy knights in the audience. The musical performance started with Shuna on the piano and Shin on the violin. Their skilled playing seemed like a friendly competition rather than a collaboration, but it was still lovely to listen to. Clearly, they had put in a lot of practice to achieve such a high level of skill. The audience was silent after they finished playing until my mother started clapping. Soon, others joined in with applause. After the applause quieted down, the lights on the stage turned dark for a while before they turned on again, and a new song was played. Different songs from Earth and even anime songs. After the music performance, we had lunch, and then we attended a tech presentation before going around the city. Seeing a sword being healed with a healing potion was certainly a funny experience. We bought some souvenirs and even found Veldora at his takoyaki stand, and I somehow ended up having a takoyaki making competition with Veldora. Of course, after my first failed attempt, I didn't resort to cheating. Hey, don't be like that, Persephone. I screamed mentally. It seems Master is a sore loser. Did you say anything? No, Master. Thought so. Yesterday marked the end of the first day of the festival. Today, we decided to visit the opera house, and I didn't expect to run into my mother there, but it was a pleasant surprise. She seemed to enjoy the music of Tempest. After the opera, we decided to grab a bite to eat at Shuna's cafe. The food was delicious, and it was the perfect way to refuel before exploring the nearby market. As we walked through the market, we were surrounded by vibrant colors and sounds. We saw a variety of different stalls selling different Tempest specialties. We also saw some shadow generals just walking around enjoying their time off. Apparently, due to Masayuki not participating, there were a few changes in the tournament. There wasn't anything about the four heavenly kings, and there were two different participants, namely Hakura and Igris. I don't know why Hakura decided to join, but what I know is that I want to see the battle between the both of them. Two people dedicated their lives to polish their swordsmanship. That's something I'm waiting for, but from the matchup I saw, that would only happen if both of them enter the finals. Currently, the last fight of the day is being held, Lion Mask vs Igris. The final day of the festival arrived, and I'm awaiting the final of the tournament. Ultima and I decided to go and watch the final match, as it was a match between Hakura and Igris. The long-awaited finals have finally arrived. Suka announced. The public cheered, and when their voices died down, she continued. Who will emerge victorious in this epic battle between the representatives of Demon Lord Rimuru and Demon Lord Ashbourne? It's not just a clash of subordinates but a showdown between two individuals who have honed their skills to perfection. Get ready for a heart-pounding duel that will leave you on the edge of your seat. The cheers returned, with half being for Hakura and the other half for Igris. Apparently, during the previous battles, they gained their attention due to their swordsmanship, and now that both of them are facing each other, the people are interested. That's especially true for swordsmen, who now look at them with shining stars in their eyes despite being monsters and subordinates of demon lords. This won't be a battle of power. Otherwise, Igris would have won it easily. No, this will be a battle of pure skill, and I can't help but get excited. Let the battle begin. As they charged towards each other, their swords clashed, creating a shower of sparks. It was a breathtaking sight to behold, one that showcased the incredible skill and precision of both Hakura and Igris. Despite their different styles, both swordsmen were incredibly skilled and had trained for hundreds of years to become the formidable swordsmen that they were. Hakura's swordsmanship style was more reminiscent of Japanese techniques, with precise strikes and fluid movements that allowed him to seamlessly transition from one attack to the next. Meanwhile, Igris tended to utilize European techniques, favoring a more aggressive approach that relied on quick strikes and powerful blows. Despite their differences, both warriors were evenly matched, and the battle raged on for what felt like hours. Each strike was met with a fierce counterattack, and the sound of clashing metal echoed throughout the battlefield. Neither of them was going to back down, and the intensity of the fight only seemed to increase as time went on. With a final burst of energy, Igris landed a devastating blow that sent Hakura backward, giving him enough time to win. The battle was over, and Igris won. With the tournament over and Igris as the winner, it was time for something I was excited about, and that was the announcement Miles was about to make. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to have kept you waiting. The facility that we are about to demonstrate is the pride of the Tempest Federation, the extremely challenging dungeon. It will be the most difficult undertaking opened by His Majesty, Demon Lord Rimuru, to fellow adventurers. Will anyone be able to break through this labyrinth successfully? I should maybe test it out one time, but now this time. There is something I need to do before I can think about testing out the dungeon. Author's note. Thank you for reading this chapter. Another chapter will be up in 1 hour. If you enjoy this story, remember to vote and leave a review if you haven't.